There we go. Now it looks like we're live.
Wait, we're live?
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to be energetic and I gotta do my cocaine, dude? Cut the stream. Give me a second.
Hey, I gave you plenty of warning. It's on you for being a lazy sack of shit. Which is kind of weird because isn't Coke supposed to give you energy and make you,
Yeah,
I don't know,
I
want to
haven't
do
did the
shit?
cocaine yet. I haven't did the cocaine yet.
Um, but so, as people can tell from the title, yes, this is a not quite a 24-hour delayed show because fucking work yesterday. We have hit 300 subscribers on the channel. Yay! Guess what, you lazy sons of bitches? We need more. Let's turn that 300 into 3,000. I'm looking at you people out there watching this.
Wait, 300 to 3,000. Hold on.
Yeah.
That's
We can do it.
okay, if you say so.
Well, are you doubting the power that we can obtain?
No, I know the power I can obtain. I'm just not sure about you.
Oh, that's how it's gonna be, huh? Oh, come on. Why is everyone else so quiet?
I don't know.
I'm trying to get up the chat, man. And I left myself muted.
I'm trying to, figure out what's in my ear and where that, crusty white substance came from. And there's just a lot on my mind.
Well, you really need to train your dog better until you get him fixed because he's not supposed to be leaving the white substance in your ear.
Oh. Man, I must have really slept through that then.
Probably, I mean, he is a sneaky little bastard. I mean, you had how much of a time catching him when you first found him?
Oh, that was easy. All I had to do was, open up the gate. He smelt the steak and he came running.
You said dog. I thought you were talking about a greased pig.
Oh, no. Damn, I still have to do a show in 2 days.
Yep.
Yeah, and the event's already made for it, too.
Oh.
And it is actually quite the fitting title, too.
So do I just, wing it like everything else? Or do I plan something out?
I have never known you to plan something out, so why would we set up expectations for people only to have you fail?
I don't think I'll fill any expectations. I mean, my entire job currently is planning, Mel's 12-hour stream for the 15th of December. Check it out.
Have fun with that one.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I will say, I am planning on being down at Cape Canaveral for the Falcon 9 launch that day on the 15th. Which the launch window is just before 10 a.m. And here's the kicker.
That's the thing. I think they changed the date for the launch to the 17th.
Not that I saw yet.
Some of the sites I have found have said 17th and not 15th. Falcon 9 3.0 GPS launch.
Hang on. Because they had another one set for the 22nd as well. Let's take a look. Space Calendar 2018. Let's see the launches. 14th, Italy. 15th, SpaceX for GPS 301.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to say that it was fake news then.
Now, whenever they do a launch window, it's always multiple days that they set it up for.
Uh-oh. Hold on. SpaceX visits spacecoast.com in bright caps, delayed from October 15th.
Yeah, it was a reschedule from a previous launch, is what that's saying.
All right, so... Oh, wait, that's 2000... Wait, what the fuck am I reading? Hold on.
Piggy can read?
Somewhat, yeah. It just takes me a while. You know, I'm blind.
He is quite the talented pig.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it?
Next thing you know, you'll tell me you can fly too.
Oh, we got someone
Actually,
in
so
here.
this one looks like they pushed it back to the 18th.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh
was
wow!
telling you. Like,
And
there's some
they
that
just
says 18, some that says 15, some say 17.
yeah. This one. Hang on. Let me go over here. Since it's a wide open chat, so anyone out there in the live chat, if you want onto the panel for some to join in
I'll
on
post the
this,
link.
just go ahead and do it. It is
Yeah.
unsnipeable, so why not?
Wait, that's the wrong link. Hold on.
Yes,
That's my porn.
make sure you do
Give
the
me a
correct
wrench.
link. Thought you had one already.
That's my other account. I have multiple accounts, man. I can't keep
Bitch.
them
I
all.
got it. I got the link.
It just no. I still need a wrench. That's the thing.
Try it now. There you go.
I beat you to it, Jay.
Not on my side
And I
of the
was
chat.
switching my teamers. Mine. I beat you. Plain fair and simple. Like I posted it like 4 seconds ago. He even said, "There you go," and then that's when it was posted. So.
Well, minimize
All right,
you.
can you?
All right. We
Okay,
are
can you
we are
just,
about to have a special guest. So, well, not really special unless you're talking education level. I mean, because he is just an ugly fucking plumber.
Hold on, let me bring in Landon Curtinola. Oh, there you go. An ugly fucking plumber. Oh god, not that smelly fuck.
You mean this ugly fuck right here?
Yeah, fuck that guy.
The fuck you want, fool?
Okay, so
We're here to smell your ugly ass.
So what the fuck is going on with the December launch? I'm seeing like 4 different dates for it now.
I told you, do not trust any website unless it's Spaceflight Now. They're the only ones that actually knows their fucking shit.
And they're one of the ones that's giving a different date now.
Well, the one that's on December 4th is the CRS-16. That hasn't changed.
Yeah, but it was the one that was scheduled for the 15th that I was going to be down there for. Remember? The Falcon?
That is the Falcon 9 GPS 301 is December 18th.
Yes, and when we started planning, it was the 15th.
Oh, well, yeah, that one got moved because that's a GPS satellite. The one that hasn't shifted is the CRS-16 one on December 4th. The December 4th one is the one with the boost back. But to be fair, the GPS one is also going to be a boost back. I would prefer December 4th be the one that you actually aim for, though.
He already has the 15th off.
Hang on, let me see. Yeah, the 15th was easier to take off.
All right, so you're 15th to what?
Well, that's the thing. I was going to end up taking travel the 14th, be there for the 15th, have the scrub day for the 16th, and then fly back the 17th. But now, since it's the 18th, I'm going to have to take a look at flying in on Monday.
Yeah, so if you were to be in on December 4th, you would have the SpaceX CRX 16th launch. That one is at 1:38 p.m. That's December 4th. December 8th, now the Falcon 9 GPS 301, and that one is also going to be a boost back launch. Looks like it was delayed because apparently they're having troubles with the Delta 4.
Well, fuck you, Jay.
Because we were initially, I was gonna live stream part of it during the 12-hour show that Scientist Mel was due to host that day
On the 15th.
But now, so has that been rescheduled?
I'm not exactly sure about any of this. I'm only here to do the launch. I'm not sure of any live shows, any live streaming, because I don't live stream this shit.
No, it was going to be Jared that was live streaming it.
Yeah, it was going to be my POV. Don't worry, I wouldn't want to break the camera with your face.
Exactly. And also, Jared, now you're finding out the hard way that Rockets don't give a fuck about your schedule. You conform to them, bitch.
Oh, trust me, I know. That's why when I heard that, I was like, wait a minute. Let me make sure, because here's the thing. For me to get the time off from work, I need a minimum of 2 weeks notice.
Yep.
So,
and also, I'm really pissed off because looks like Vanderberg is going to break the Delta 4 Heavy Cherry for the NROL 71 launch. So, them's lucky bitches. But we're going to get 2 launches within December. So, right after the Soyuz ISS launch in Baikonur on December 3rd, there'll be the Falcon 9 resupply mission on December 4th. And then after that, December 18th is the Falcon 9 GPS 301.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now.
Yay.
What up, everybody?
All right, I got a question. I sent 3 since all 3 of you are in here. Each of you received a message with a user ID and a URL to a form. Go fill that out.
Why?
Because it's part of UDSA.
Yeah, but the thing that you told me to fill out has something to do with Discord, and I think we already had this conversation. I don't trust that, or I don't touch that godforsaken platform.
You don't have to touch it, but you have to make your votes. That was part of the agreement.
I didn't agree to shit. I
get to vote on the vetting process of who joins the server. Remember?
Yes, and you remember what we talked about after that?
Oh yeah, masturbation. My bad.
I believe it was something other than masturbation.
It was close enough.
Yo, Reds, check this out, man.
I believe the way it works is that I don't touch it. I don't want anything to do with it, and I trust your guys' judgment on it. If you guys want to ask me about particular individuals, then be my guest. But if you think that they'll be good addition, then you don't need my approval. I have nothing to do with this Discord that you guys have made.
I don't. That's exactly what it is. It's about vetting in people. It's that vote.
Oh my god! Don't know why you guys make me do stupid shit that I don't want to have any part of.
Oh well,
Because
since when have people not been doing that to you? Really, honest.
Wait, no. Consider it payback for all the times you've done it to other people.
Yeah. See. Watch. Hey, Jared.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to do me a favor, a really big one, and drive my happy ass over to Cape Canaveral when you get here, so I can sleep in the car?
then no.
Yeah.
See, you can't say no.
Damn it, Jared! You should have said no.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was actually looking
There
at the
you go,
live
see?
chat.
And whose fault is that? Point.
Red, are you
fucking
talking about the December 15th launch?
No, it's been bumped to the 18th.
And bumped to the 18th. I'm legitimately trying to get an airplane ticket and get some time off.
Right
come and see
now,
it.
here's the current details on that one. The window is 9:24 in the morning to 9:50 in the morning, so it's a narrow launch window. So what you would have to do is either come on in the day before, like December 17th, or if you are going to come in on December 18th, I need to pick your ass up at the airport and then drive straight to the launch site.
I would be in there the night before just to make sure that I didn't miss that.
It's better that way.
Hey, can you I'm gonna put my email in the side chat here, and will you email me so I have a contact info with you? So I can coordinate
send it. Try to get or just get in contact with me through Hangouts.
Question.
I struggle at that, but I can get in contact with you through Jared, so I'm not worried about that.
Okay, yeah,
That works.
Question: what city?
Who the fuck is
Someone's
having a panic attack?
I have no idea. What city will this launch be? Cape Canaveral?
Cape
Cape
Canaveral.
Canaveral.
Okay, where's the nearest airport?
Orlando, but don't fly there. It's a shithole. Do TPA.
I was about to ask you, how far are you away from there in Tampa Bay?
I can get to the airport in 15, 20 minutes from where I am.
How far from Cape Canaveral are you?
155 miles.
For about 2.5 hours.
Yes. It takes
Where the
me
fuck
2.5 hours to drive there, 2.5 hours to drive back. But it's so worth it. It's so
Well,
worth
it's
the
going to
drive.
take Jared 2.5 hours to drive there.
Oh,
Drive back.
fuck that. We can do it in less.
No.
Okay.
The plan was
wait. It's the Pigmobile. Never mind.
exactly. The plan was that a few cool motherfuckers decided to fly into TPA. I pick your sorry asses up, take you guys to wherever the fuck you need to go to stay the night. Of course, Jerry can, crash on the couch because why the fuck not? And then after that, we all just carpool our happy asses into the Pigmobile and go to Cape Canaveral with all the cameras and the Nikon, basically Nikon porn.
We can't get a party bus with a keg on it.
I mean, if you're willing to pay for it, I can make some arrangements.
See how much it costs.
Oh shit!
Basically, I'm thinking that just carpooling and going there because, in all fairness, I know the way and I know the best spots. I'll make sure that anyone that decides to make it hears triple sonic booms.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I tried to get my kid to go, but he's moving into his new place on the 16th, so he's not gonna go with me.
Yep, tied up. I gets it, but yep, that's the plan as of right now. So, if there is any details that are needed, I would say any details about the launch only stick to Spaceflight Now. That is the only website that actually updates their shit worth a damn. Do not trust any other website, otherwise you are guaranteed to fuck yourself. I cannot stress that enough. You will fuck yourself. If you're going to go to any other website, you might as well just go to Bad Dragon, buy the biggest dildo off of that website, and then sit on it.
Ouch.
Exactly. So only use Spaceflight Now. So Jared, does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, it's actually easier for me to take the time off for the 18th launch than try to get down there for the 4th. So
yeah.
Jared, what day are you flying in?
Oh, I would fly down on the 17th.
Okay.
And remember, airport code TPA. Go to that one because I'm literally like 15, 20 minutes away.
Oh no! Every time I've gone down that way for work, for training down in St. Pete, that's where I've flown into. So.
And what day are you leaving, Jared?
It would be literally the day after, right?
My idea. Well, it depends. How should we plan for the extra scrub day? Because if that's the case, then I'd be flying back on the 20th.
Backup day is going to be the next day and the window of opportunity is an hour later. So if they were to scrub on that day, then they would try to launch the next day at 10:24 to 10:50 instead of 9:24 to 9:50.
Yeah.
So it would be an hour delay on the next day if you wanted to plan for that. Usually GPS launches go off pretty easily. It's not like a space station launch where you have to be super like pinpoint accurate with your shit. GPS launches have a little bit of leeway because it's a GPS. It's not a commercial resupply mission that's trying to dock with another orbiting body.
Yeah.
So many fucking people joining.
Yep. So with that, I am going to fuck off because I got a show in about less than 2 hours.
Yep, no, that's why I said I'd make it quick. And hey, Red, if no Flatty shows up and we want to fuck with him, I'm still gonna be live.
Oh, hells yeah! Sounds like a plan.
Bye, Red.
All right, peace
You're
out.
gonna
Catch you later, Red.
All right, Jared. It's $400. I'm gonna join you guys.
This will be interesting.
Well, I'm broke, so.
Don't look at me. I ain't got that kind of cash.
I'm selling. If anyone wants to buy a PS4 Pro for $300, maybe $250, I'll send it to you.
I'll sell a kidney for $225.
I was gonna say, come on, Piggy. You mean you're not gonna sell your body?
How you gonna play PlayStation with no PlayStation, bro?
I have two.
I have 3, but I give them all to my kid. When I buy a new one, I just give my old one to my kid.
Yeah.
So he's got 2. I have 1.
But I would definitely sell like my TV, my PlayStation to buy that ticket. That sounds fun.
You have a job? Just go work extra time at your job.
I don't have a job.
Oh.
I might be able to get a job in time and save up. I mean, I have 15 days? No.
No, you can't. Don't try to do that. Or you can try, but don't expect. Don't plan for that.
Wonderful day in the neighborhood. I mean,
Fuck, man.
oh, and here's the kicker. So I had a 14-hour day on Friday. I had 12 hours on Thursday.
I've been off.
I'd kill to have 14.
I've been off. I just got back from Nova. Visiting my wife's side.
Oh, but speaking of, there's somebody I've been wanting to catch up with. How you doing there, Tech? Haven't seen you in a while.
Doing good. Yeah, you weren't on last time I was here, so.
Well, I don't know if Jay told you, but we're going over a Russian submarine that went down back in 2000.
Oh, the Kursk.
The Kursk.
Oh, the Kursk. They put out it was a recent game released on the Kursk, or about the Kursk incident, I should say, wherein pretty much everything is accurate except your protagonist. Or at least that's what's supposed to be. we're currently in the process of playing the Kursk's final few days.
There we go.
We're looking at. I'm looking at trying to. I'm looking at putting together another live stream for it. Are you up for it or no?
Yeah, I could do that.
It'd be on a Friday. Just
on Friday. What time on a
Friday? Noonish-ish, something like that.
Probably noon on Friday is not going to work because I'm going to be at work. So.
Okay.
Well,
You got a better time?
which noon?
Pacific time. That'd be 3 Eastern.
I don't actually know where you are, Tech. So I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you the information in my time because that's the way it works.
If I have enough heads up on it, I might.
My hands on Jay between now and then. It shouldn't be too hard. He was in my stream earlier today, so he should be around somewhere.
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are, Jay. Okay, what do you think about Friday the week after next?
Sounds fine to me.
What are y'all gonna be
Okay.
streaming?
We're going back to that game, Kursk. And I've been pulling. Trying to pull all the submariners I know to kind of give everybody an idea of how this is and what things are like, and yeah, having some little submarine talk, submarine/Navy talk while we watch all the Russians speak in Russian.
Hell yeah, sounds badass. Let me know when it goes down. I'll watch.
It actually looks like a really good game. I put the link in the public chat out there.
Actually, it's not as hard as. Give me a second. I have an idea where it could have got off to.
I'm going to be upgrading tomorrow, so.
The location of.
So I got a question.
I got an
Now,
answer.
the sexual harassment of Red's rhetoric, who would pay for that?
Probably me.
Try it.
Right.
Anybody who's attempting to do the sexual harassment.
Well, if you want to see, Red's rhetoric be sexually harassed, I'm going to post a link in the internal chat for you guys.
Oh no!
Is this the thing that you did to him? Look, there, pig.
No, if enough funds is raised to go to Cape Canaveral.
Canaveral.
Canaveral. Close enough. I mean, it started with a C.
Nah, man, you need to know that. Canaveral. Say it with me, Dave.
Canaveral.
Now,
It is-
okay, listen, hold
Oh,
on.
I'm
You
from
said it
Texas.
perfect. So, listen, you said it perfect. So now every time you talk to somebody, say it exactly like that. Be like, oh, yeah, we're going down to Cape Canaveral to watch a rocket launch.
You know what? Just for you, I'll do that.
Oh, I bet. You'll get all the chicks that dig you. Put out phone.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Skeptic, what the hell happened to that live stream you and I were talking about a few days ago?
Let me go look at my Discord again.
Did it run away? I bet it did.
It must have.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh,
gone,
hey, you know what?
and vanished.
Hey, this would be a good place to do this video. I have a video if you want to load it up, and we could do a quick debunk on it. It's somebody who is trying to replace Isaac Newton's first law of motion with his own his own 3 laws of motion. He's replacing one law with 3 new laws, basically.
What?
Yeah. Hey, if you want to do it, I'm all down for it, bro. I'll give you the.
Yeah, send me the link, and I'll work on.
I'll be right back.
downloading
I'll be
it.
right back. Since I gotta see.
Did any of y'all happen to see the that M. Benz put out a Team Skeptic, who is this guy video?
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't see that one.
Crying
I wanna see it,
without crying. Crying with no tears. That's what we'll call it.
That was.
And
Skeptic, you make everybody that you critique cry. That's it.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, and something amazes me, right? So most of these people like Wolfie, Simon, Dan, Conspiracy Cats, the flat earthers will put out debunk videos against them, but nobody does that to me. They not do it because I don't offer
because nobody
substance.
wants to
It's the power of the word.
idiot timer.
Yeah, they
It's
just
all
don't want
about
me to
the
make a
power of the
video
word
about
fucking
them.
idiot.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
right.
assume that as well. I assume that could be a possibility as well, but I don't. Oh shit! Hold on. Tell me that this dude didn't fucking delete. I see all these deleted videos in my. All right, hold on. I'm sorry. Then. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
Later,
I'll
Shane.
Yeah, take it easy,
Later,
man.
Shane.
Oh man, he might have fucking deleted it. Oh, and then fucking Southern Israelite put out a video trying to. We could always talk about that as well, because that one he has a misunderstanding of what gravity and or general relativity is.
I got his team who for M. Benz. Is that what you were looking for?
No. Well, hey, share that one anyway. But no, I'm looking for this one that talks about the. Fucking, I'm gonna go to my watch history. The one that talks about replacing the laws of with fucking something else. And I watch so many videos, so it's gonna take me fucking forever to find.
Hey, Wish,
I think it was one of his first videos, wasn't it?
One of what now?
Wasn't it one of M. Benz's like first videos?
No, he's actually this was a it was a new series. It was the first one in a new series of stuff that he had done. So but it wasn't actually a new theory. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read and talk it down. It wasn't actually his first video. It's maybe his 80th or something.
Oh, okay. So I was looking at this. He's got one that's titled "Flat Earth Answers Episode 2 Movement."
He says what?
Flat Earth Answers Episode 2 Movement about a year ago.
Oh no, that's not
much more recent.
Yeah.
I would hate about what Young Benz considers a movement.
Jeez, man.
Bowel movement?
Probably.
I always try to put download the videos that I really want to do. And now that one's gone, I think. Fuck. It was such a dumbass video, too.
See, that's what happens when you wait and you procrastinate against some of the stupid, which is why there's a video with a wonderful excerpt. A few months back, do you guys remember that Flat Earth hit piece documentary that came out at the Toronto Film Festival?
Hey, shut my door.
There is a beautiful clip in there of Bob Nodal talking
Shut the door.
about the ring laser gyro. We have that clip.
Please.
We have that excerpt.
Oh, he tried to pull it off.
Oh, no. This is where he said, well, the initial results are really bad for us. Meaning they are really bad for Flat Earth. Hang on. I will find the link in my Hangouts.
I'm gonna have to go into my browser history to try to find this.
I think I'm looking at it.
You talking about me, or the ones that you think you found the video?
Yeah, I think I'm looking at it. It was linked in the live chat on the stream through YouTube.
Oh, no. It was that's me linking.
He's staring at his computer screen and
No, that's the one that
looking
embeds.
at father's.
That's not the one we're looking for.
I remember what I did.
Oh.
Was it in this one? Oh, it was in this one. All right, I found it. There it is. Copy link. All right, I'm going to put the link into the live chat. Open that one in
What's a
another
good
tab
site
and take a
for
look at it.
flights?
Travelocity, Priceline. Either one will give you a fair view. If you're going to fly Southwest, which might be the cheapest, you can only book directly at Southwest's website. Alright, who's got the background?
Not me.
That's probably.
Decidedly not guilty.
And actually, for those who don't want to have to open the watch page to get it, I just put the link to that Bob Nodal one in the internal chat as well.
Tell me again who Mr. Bob Nodal is.
Glowbusters, Jaren's butt buddy.
Oh, that dude. Mr.
Yeah,
Everything's a conspiracy.
No, the supposed pilot, the supposed electrical engineer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we find the video we're looking for a live debunk on?
Yeah, I found it. I got it.
Ooh, so
All right,
we're live debunking something? Cool.
Send me the link so I can download it and we can play it
calm
appropriately.
down. Yeah, let's actually treat this like a real, actual thing, not like a comedy show.
Yeah, let's do it proper.
Because I was actually going to make a video on this, and I've decided not to because it's... I mean, I still can, but I just decided against it because I figured it'd be better for a live stream. I was going to do it on my live stream when I was telling you to come through, but we can do it tonight in celebration of 300 subscribers to the channel. I tell everybody, Jared, about the channel, so I hope that it's reflecting itself eventually at some point in the number of subscribers we get.
You know, in the last few... I'd say it's probably been in the last month we've gained easily 100 subscribers. So the download is going to take another couple minutes.
Microsoft minutes?
Well, in Microsoft minutes it says 1. So that's why I say a couple.
Are you talking about the video I just shared?
Yep.
Okay. So let me go over what the premise of the video is. Okay, and then we can go from there. He starts out by saying that Isaac Newton's first law is wrong, is proven wrong.
How is it proven wrong?
Well, let's hear.
Well, I mean, he's going to go into this. I mean, it's all reading. He doesn't speak, so we're going to have to kind of like go with what's on the screen and just talk.
Okay, so I won't even have to worry about changing my audio over. Good.
No. I should have made that. I could have played it and just shared my screen, but that's fine. It's talking about expansion of space-time and he gives an explanation of what he's trying to say, which I don't know. We'll talk about it. And he goes, I think that he also he like tries to explain what he's trying to say in written format. So we'll be able to, it's really easy. We don't have to interpret anything because it's all right there on the screen.
So he actually made it dummy proof in a way.
That's one thing that a lot of people are like, why don't you debunk this guy? And I'm like, that guy doesn't speak in his videos. Like I'd have to either read off what he's saying so that anybody who's not watching the video and is just listening, I'd have to read off what he was saying. And I just don't want to do that.
I
I don't want to put their words in my mouth, Like, oh, look, Team Skeptic said the world is flat.
Yeah,
no, I didn't.
Fuck them. They are disingenuous fucks in that way. Yes,
check Discord. I'm gonna be able to go.
I also
I'm getting ready to start.
I'm working on a Dr. Gene Kim video. And Dr. Gene Kim, he's that Asian preacher or whatever that has a PhD.
Oh, add me to that, please.
Well, that one I'm working on right now, where he says that you can debunk science with God, and that science can't prove itself. Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
So he's an abject fucking idiot.
No, he's just playing the tertiary redactor game. That's the way it is.
Right. It's the science can't prove science, but God doesn't need to prove God. It's like a special plea.
Begging the question much.
Yeah, it's the typical fucking special pleading case for religious zealots. Zealots.
Alright, so the download is complete.
It should be. It's only a fucking 2-minute download. Goddamn, how slow is your internet?
Well, I'm also taking it. It's probably been done for a few minutes. I was just taking a look at my laptop for work.
I had time to go poop on the Dr. Gene Kim video.
New first laws in the
It's gonna cost me $150. I'm gonna sell my PS4 for $200. Go and sexually harass Red.
Alright, people.
I dare you.
Well, you'll be there to see it firsthand, potentially, Skeptic.
Oh, no. I'm going to try. It's going to be a work thing. If like that, now that it's moved up a couple of days, it's hard because that's a Monday, I think.
Yeah.
So that means I have to take off Sunday and Tuesday. Or Sunday, I'm already off, but also have to take Tuesday, which this is like my busy season is during this time of the year when it's cold outside, because everything I do is 100 degrees. So inside my shop, it's literally like a tropical 85 all the time.
Nice. All right.
Except for in the summer. In the summer, it gets like 120. So.
Well, let me do this so you guys can see it. And you're going to see a bit of loop back. Yeah. Shut up.
So, Jared, do we still get to call drink?
No.
So what was that porn tab I just saw on your computer?
Oh, don't worry about that.
Oh, wait, never mind. That was on my computer.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sharing the other monitor.
I'm like looking at the top, I'm like, damn, you got a whole bunch of fucking tabs open, Jared. Why do you have all those tabs open? And why is 7 of them fucking delinquant porn? Like, oh, well, wait. My favorite. Like, yeah, we have a lot in common, bro.
I don't think anybody with half a brain in their head would have porn tabs open or tabbed over while you or Red were in the room, especially if you turn it on.
What if you just don't care if people know what type of porn you like?
Anyways, let's get on to the stupid. So you guys can see the screen, right?
Sure.
Oh yeah, we can.
All right, just making sure.
Let the Glowbuster stupidity commence.
Oh, it's not Glowbusters. This is someone else.
Oh?
Okay, so as you can
Which
see, he said no object at rest. So first off, I think we should cover the law, Newton's law of motion, which the first law, I believe, is objects at rest will stay at rest, and objects in motion will stay in motion. Objects basically in constant motion will need energy to begin to accelerate, and there has to be some kind of interaction for an object to decelerate. Is that correct? I mean, that his
So
first
a rock will stay in place unless
Unless
water
you kick the
comes
crap
and
out of it.
pushes
Yeah,
it.
pretty much.
right, but if you throw a rock, it won't keep going because there's a force pulling it down. Now, if there
Yes,
wasn't
gravity.
something, let's say there wasn't something to run into, like the face of the Earth. Let's say it was just, you threw it hard enough. What it would do is it would just circle this point. It would never stop. It would never slow down. It would never speed up. It would just consistently circle a point, and that's what the orbit is. What an orbit.
Yeah, so the first law is the inertial frame of reference. Objects either remain at rest or in continuous motion at a constant velocity unless acted upon by an external force.
Oh man, I
So-
can't
so
wait.
it's
we're
like
about to have an
Voyager
actual
1 going
science.
into
We're about to have an
space.
actual science discussion, Jared.
Can I
because
break
I'm
in
about
here
to
for a
explain
second?
some relativity to people.
Can I
So,
break
so
in here
you
for a
guys,
second,
are
Jen?
you telling me that Voyager isn't going to slow down because there's nothing to slow it down?
Well, Voyager will slow down because the
yeah.
sun is still pulling on it. It's still
Kinda,
pulling
yeah.
on it a bit. It's well past the velocity it used to be to get out and stay out, but it's not going to
Yeah,
fall
once
back.
it
But at the
leaves
same
the
time,
Oort cloud.
Not even
it's
beyond the
still
Oort cloud.
by
Way
completely
beyond the Oort cloud is the influence of the sun will still play a role well beyond the Oort cloud, because you got to think the sun actually plays a role in the local stars, and the nearest stars like 4 light years away, 4.5 light years or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's the
goddamn
thing is
gravity.
they don't get just how connected the gravitational effects are between massive bodies, even at massive distances. It's why the slingshot effect actually is as effective as it is. But here's what's interesting about what's on the screen is, so where he mentions space-time right here, Newton has fuck all to do with space-time or anything towards that realm. He is trying to connect the Newtonian physics with Einsteinian.
except that
General
relativity was what provided the refinement for Newtonian physics, and he seems to have missed this bit. Also note that we have no guarantee that we actually have evidence against the idea that space-time is expanding or space is expanding and will continue to do so permanently.
We have evidence against that idea?
Yeah, I was about to say, what evidence is there against it? Because I'm unaware of it, if there is some.
Well,
It's understanding the current data that we have, which unfortunately we are stuck to our local relative position for all these observations, and until we are able to get outside of the direct sphere of influence of the sun and get another vantage point and then compare from there, that's when we will fully get a view of it to know whether or not the current supposition is correct. We simply do not have the technological ability to do a proper change of frame of reference to duplicate the observation.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out something else that you said about space-time and how far the effect of gravity is. So picture this. If you have a fishing string line, right? And you take it and you put that line 10 meters apart from each other, and you pull it real tight, and you tie that line off so that it's as tight as you can possibly make it. No matter where you put something on that line, if you hang a paper clip on that line, the line will slightly dip down where that paper clip is. And you can measure that dip all the way to both sides, all the way to the end of the fishing line. So space-time is like the fishing line. Massive objects are like the paper clip. The larger the massive object, the further it's going to pull that fishing line down. So, but at the same time, no matter how small something you put on there is, it's going to be felt all the way across the universe because there is no limitation to the gravitational pull, to the distance of gravitational pull. It only says it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. But as far as we know, there is no limit to how small it can get. So it's always going to have a preferred motion because it's always going to be bent by even two atoms on, distances away, large distances away that you wouldn't normally would think that would attract to each other. The thing is that they've each put a slight dip in a constant fabric, in a line, and then they will mutually attract to each other based on how the fishing line or the fabric of space-time warps to their existence.
It never absolutely vanishes. It'll just go below your ability to measure it with your current.
Right. That's exactly that's where he's going.
And here's another thing. Okay, this is where we get to the point of having a lack of understanding between gravity and quantum mechanics, because gravity is explained. We can explain it all the way down to a certain point, and at that certain point, we have to give up on the like the Einstein, the general relativity way of thinking about gravity, and we have to start understanding it to be something that we can't measure anymore. It's not that it's not there. It's like saying, can we measure one half of a Planck's distance? No, because we're unfortunately limited in this universe to be able to only measure down or only conceive physically things that are larger, at least larger than one Planck's distance. But does that mean there's no space between 2 points that are a Planck's distance apart? No, it's there. It's absolutely there. That's why we need quantum mechanics and things like quantum, the quantum at the quantum scale. That's where things actually make a difference. That's where it matters.
Yeah, they seem to want to ignore technical limitations.
Yeah. Which is why quantum gravity, when they come up with a theory of quantum gravity, it'll mesh how how we go from the smallest point of distance, how gravity, the nature of gravity between 2 points that are so small that we could never actually view them in our universe, at least with our understanding of the universe and with our equipment that we have right now.
Anyway.
Are you moving the video forward? Jared?
Did Jared fall asleep on us?
I don't know. I hope not.
I think I scared Jared away. I was trying to get him to whip himself so I can get money for this trip.
I think he went to go get his pen and paper to take notes.
Wow. I'll use my mind control powers to hit the play button. Give me a second.
Or is he inspecting?
Yeah.
I thought that Jared was a sailor. Shouldn't he always have pen and paper handy?
Yeah.
To take notes? What? Sorry, my boss called.
Oh.
Just hit the play button.
Yeah, hit the play button. Let's go on to the next idiot point.
All right, let's see. God, how long is he going to keep that on? All right, here we go. This is
okay. So let's go over this drawing real quick. It says, this picture shows the concept of the theory. I explain this idea next. So what we're going to do is we're going to see his bullshit first, and then we're going to have him explain why he thinks his bullshit smells like roses. So this is the area I call the intangible region, an area outside of three-dimensional understanding. Okay, so this would essentially be what our understanding of the quantum field is. Outside of four-dimensional space-time, because we don't have a three-dimensional understanding, because we understand that 3 dimensions change over time, and that's why we have the 4th dimension of time. So it is a 4-dimensional understanding. The quantum field is probably what is like how a fish is in water. Does a fish even know it's in water? How we're in air, we don't even experience the air. The universe probably exists inside of a quantum field that is responsible for the Big Bang. So the gray area is what we would consider like an area of infinite energy, an area of, you know, infinite quantum, or at least what we know to be infinite. You know, it could be finite, but we just would never understand how finite it was, because to us it's infinite. Let's see, or I'm sorry, that's the white area outside the gray area. So the gray area, the spherical region, shows space-time expanding after the explosion of the singularity. Now, let's go ahead and rate his fucking scientific knowledge. First off, you can't take anybody fucking seriously that says that the Big Bang was an explosion. There's no scientists think it's an explosion.
No, it wasn't an explosion. It was hyperinflation, hyper expansion.
Yeah, exactly. Which occurs during an explosion, but is not mutually exclusive to explosions.
Exactly.
It just says that there was a differential in pressure and we had an expansion. So maybe there was, at least from what we understand to be, you know, the way things work now, there's some kind of difference, like some kind of pressure, of force that pushed out everything in all directions, as it almost like a balloon being blown up. The balloon itself doesn't even know that the air exists out there. The balloon just starts moving outward due to the pressure from the inside of the balloon. Okay, so the yellow circle says this spherical region shows light expanding after the explosion of the singularity. So light is that's a I don't know if I would use that word there, because light didn't necessarily, it was energy, you know, it was energy. I don't know how you could explain it as being energy and not light at the same time. I mean, it's obviously some form of spectrum on the electromagnetic radiation spectrum, but it's definitely not in the visible spectrum, so I'm not sure you would consider this light. Agree, disagree?
No, agreed.
Well, agreed.
Okay, so then the blue part in the middle says this spherical region shows matter expanding. Okay, so this is where he gets really stupid. Shows matter expanding after the explosion of the singularity. Again, it wasn't an explosion. This matter was created when light was transformed into matter due to the explosion, not an explosion, of the singularity. So this is not necessarily true. We believe that the particles interacted with each other, and these interactions caused they caused things to heat up really, really hot due to probably friction, I would guess. And at that point, they started to slow down and start transforming from energy into actual particles. And those particles started, they were first subatomic particles, and then they started forming their combinations. And before you know it, you had hydrogen, and that's all you really had was hydrogen. I don't know if there's probably some kind of interactions to create some helium, some lithium, but I don't think that you'll probably find that it's high levels of hydrogen at this point.
Well, yeah, it was on the order of 98 or 99% hydrogen, simply because there wasn't enough of the nuclear reactions going on to create the heavier elements.
Right. These are why, we don't see a lot of first generation stars anymore from the very first galaxies as well. Well, I mean, when we look further back, that's all we see that's all we're going to see is hydrogen coming from the stars in the 13.8 billion years ago, because they hadn't had a chance to form second and third and fourth generation stars.
Well, are we considered a third or a fourth generation star?
I'm not sure, but I know that with our content, we're not a first generation star.
No, we're at least the youngest would be a third generation, and if I remember correctly, the postulate is that complex intelligent life as we know it is not possible until the third generation stars began to come into existence because of the complexity required
Right.
in the building blocks that come from the first and second generation stars at the end of their
calcium, the
lifestyle.
carbon,
Yeah.
the zinc, magnesium, all these
Iron,
things that we
all
need.
that wonderful.
Iron, right. So okay, so now let's go forward and let's see what his explanation. I was probably wrong on a few things that I said, but I'm trying to be general with everything. So we're actually only going to be talking about Newton's law here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll read it here. It says, if my theory is true, it shows three major changes to modern physics, which good luck. First, there can be no object that has ever been at rest. Newton's first law of motion is incorrect. Therefore, I replace Newton's first law of motion with my own, written as follows. Every object is moving. If my theory is true and space-time is moving out and expanding, then any object within space-time cannot be at rest. I will stop there and we'll evaluate that.
Well, and here's the thing. He's not wrong. It's just he's trying to use Einstein to disprove Newton. Because as I will read it directly verbatim from Newton's first law. In an inertial frame of reference, an object either remains at rest or continues to move at a constant velocity unless acted upon by a force. See, now the crucial part is right there in the beginning. In an inertial frame of reference. Everything has an inertial frame of reference. You have one, I have one. Everything that we can observe in the observable universe has an inertial frame of reference.
Right.
And
everything looks like it's moving around you, or it's moving to you being still. And a good example of this is right here. You put a camera on the hood of a car, and you put a camera on the wall, okay? And you drive the car into the wall. Now you can measure the energy, and you can predict the exact amount of energy that's going to be, expunged from the collision. Now you can look at it as if it's the car that drove into the wall or the wall that smashed into the car. In either frame of reference that you look at it, you're going to get the same results.
Yep. And it all comes down to that. Your inertial frame of reference, your frame of reference. From the vantage point of the wall, it looks as though the car is coming into you. But the camera that's on the car, if you have no other reference points in the observation, all you have is the car, the path, and the wall. That's it. From the car, it looks like, due to the path and the wall moving, it came into you.
Right. That's another good point. So let's say we built a crash test dummy setup, and everything was painted black so that all you could see was the wall and the car. If you were looking from the car's point of view, you could not tell that you were the one moving forward into the wall or whether the wall came smashing into you.
Yep. Which is why anytime a flatwit tries to argue the stellar motions and they ask, well, is this moving? Before even attempting to answer, I mean, Red has done it, I have done it, and a few others have done it. You have to nail them with one crucial detail.
Relative to what?
Exactly.
Yep. There is no such thing as an absolute frame of reference. Everything is relative to everything else.
Mm-hmm. And this is what not just general relativity predicts, but it's also the basis of special relativity. In special relativity, there's really easy examples of special relativity for people to understand. One of them is if you are on a train, let's say, and you have two people, one person's bouncing a ball up and down, and it's going exactly a half meter up and exactly a half meter down into the same tube it comes out of. So it travels 1 meter per second. Okay. And then the guy on the train is moving sideways on the train, but he's laying down and looking up at the same experiment going on his train. So he sees the ball go up 1 meter and go down 1 meter. Now, if either one of them look at the other guy's ball, then he will say that that ball traveled further than 1 meter because of it'll look as if the ball makes an arch to both observers looking at the other observer. If the guy on the road is looking, or the guy on the ground is looking at the train, the ball will go up, make an arch, and then come back down into the spot that it originated at, with the motion of the train. And then the other guy, he looks, and to him, the ball will make an arch as well because he's moving. So due to the frames of reference, they each look like they're moving to each other. Now, who's wrong and who's right? Because both of them see the ball go up and travel at 1 meter per second. So they're both wrong and they're both right. So the way to like grasp this concept is to say something is malleable. Something out there has to be, it has to be able to be flexible for these observations to not make sense and make sense at the same time. How to make sense of nonsense. And so what they did, and this of course has been found to be actually true, that's where special relativity comes in and says, oh, well, if you're in motion, then time slows down for you. Or speeds up, one of the two. I think it slows down.
So
to the other observer, your time will slow down.
Yeah, as you get closer to the speed of light, an external observer, to the time difference between your clock being the one in motion, will appear to slow down.
Right.
And you also get that same effect in a gravitational field. So if you get close enough to a singularity, from an outside observer, it will look as if your clock comes to, or damn near comes to, a complete stop.
Right.
It will, in fact, come to a complete stop to an outside observer right when you cross the event horizon.
Yes, at that point it does.
But always, to you, time never stops.
Yeah,
time
it remains
at 1 second per second.
Yeah.
To you.
See, and this is where relativity and that sort of stuff gets fun, because you can try to explain some absolutely mind-melting type shit, but when you remind yourself, wait, it's all dependent on the frame of reference, it clicks. It comes together.
But
it's
this
like,
person
try explaining length contraction to somebody. I had to try to do that with Peter and Pete. I tried to explain length contraction, and I was like, you just don't understand what length contraction means. It doesn't mean, it's not literally getting smaller. It's literally appearing smaller to you. On the train, they still see a meter as 1 meter.
Well,
it doesn't matter what they look like to you. To them, it still looks like a meter.
Well, yeah, and that's where, oh god, I forget the video, and it's been so long, I'll have to really do a search to be able to find it. But someone actually did a great representation of a train in a tunnel to explain that difference, as you get towards either end of your velocity close to C or far away from it, when you're in the motion, that is the frame of reference, or when you're outside of it, the way different things appear. It really is fascinating.
Yeah, because everything in front of you, if the closer you get to see, everything in front of you is going to be more blue shifted, and if you look behind your spaceship, everything's going to be more red shifted. And you get a distortion going on. So
yeah, you get like a compression, almost a flattening in front of you, and an elongation behind you.
Right, right.
It's called Lorentz contraction, I think.
Yeah, the Lorentz equations.
That's where Lorentz started it. That is part of it. But
actually, that's actually the basis behind the Alcubierre drive, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
The Lorentz equations, the Lorentz transformation equations are used to describe not just length contraction, but also time dilation as well.
Yeah, that's where
the exact same equation as the length contraction.
Yeah,
and it's not really a complicated equation at all. It's
not.
Really simple. No.
But
has a lot of
but
geometrical
knowing,
basis to it as well.
yeah, exactly. It's just knowing when and how to apply it that it matters, and that's where a lot of people misunderstand it. Is because they're just looking at it on its face and they're not going further to think about the actual application of it, which is why a lot of people also have a hard time with calculus because
Yeah.
it's the application of it. I mean,
Right. People will look at it and go, "There's no way I'll ever use this in real life." But there are people that use calculus in real life every fucking day. You just aren't going to ever have that job because you looked at calculus and said, "Oh, that looks hard. I'm not doing that."
well, and here's the thing. I will admit, calculus at first is hard. But then once you get used to the manipulations of it, especially derivatives, I fucking hate derivatives. I hate doing it, but I can. But it is integral to both what I've been doing as an engineer and what I'm currently studying as going towards research physics and applied physics. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean I can't do it, doesn't mean I don't understand it. And that's the thing is, people see that and then just throw their hands up and say, I quit. It's like, no, that's why you get nowhere. That's why you live the life you do. You gave up.
Yeah. Well, now going back to this, there's something I also want to point out. He says, first, there can be no object that has ever been at rest. Therefore, Newton's first law of motion is incorrect. That doesn't make it incorrect because what Newton's law of motion says is that if there was, even if you completely negate the frame of reference, you can say if there was something at rest. Not who cares that we've never seen it? Doesn't mean that it's impossible. Now I agree it's impossible. But that doesn't negate for Newton's first law of motion because Newton's first law of motion would still apply to an object that was at rest, even if there's no such object.
Yeah, because all the first law is saying is that in order to change, in order to affect an acceleration, you require a force. So something moving or being stationary, in order to change states, you have to inject more energy into that system. That's all the first law is saying. If you want to change something, you have to apply a force. It's that fucking simple.
To be honest with you, man, I hate to break in, change the subject and everything, but I've been having these crazy thoughts about I can't even remember what I was going to be saying. Like that, it's like I've been like contemplating this idea of like constants, okay, of the constants of like pi, okay. So like we could never describe pi truly because we have a limitation as to how far we can actually make a measurement of pi. That's the, like we were saying earlier, the Planck's constant. So we can hypothesize beyond pi. We can even mathematically prove beyond pi or beyond the limitations of the universe, but we can't ever show our proof. But then I start thinking, I'm like, God, then you get into Heisenberg's uncertainty principles and all these other principles that say, that allow pi to get to a certain point. And after that, it can be any one of those points. So measuring the area of a circle. So it kind of like goes in hand in hand with saying, oh, well, you can never know what pi truly is because you can never know what the area of a circle. But we know that pi is the area of a circle, like with one length of whatever,
The ratio of the diameter to the circumference.
Yeah. But sorry, y'all, I'm dealing with a huge allergy problem right now. But anyway, I'm just saying, it's just crazy when I start thinking about wild concepts of physics, what can and can't be proven, but what could possibly be out there.
Anyway, can we move on with the video, please? Because we're sitting here staring at the one screen, and I also have to address the whole 666 thing that they're throwing up here.
Yeah, sure. Let's go at let's make Tornado Pelt the let's go ahead and make him the what we base how fast we move through this on. Okay, Tornado Pelt, is that cool with you? Will we make you happy by doing that? Because that's what it's all about, man. It's not about like discussing science or anything like that. Just scream drink when we get to the 666, okay? Please do that for fucking everybody. Everybody wants to fucking
We know
hear it,
you
okay?
want to.
All right, now please move forward so that Tornado Pelt doesn't shit his fucking panties.
So, simple way to state this truth is... Wait a minute, why the fuck is there a period right there? That is an incomplete sentence.
Because grammar is not a thing with this person.
Oh my god.
Drink, grammar, fail.
Oh,
I was kidding about the drink.
yeah,
I thought you picked
anyways.
up on that.
So, Earth is orbiting the sun at this time. No shit. And the sun is orbiting the center of the Milky Way galaxy right now, and all galaxies are moving at this moment. The entire cosmos is expanding. Questionable. We've already discussed that. And all light is moving. Well, no shit. So what do you mean object at rest? We've already discussed that. It's the frame of reference. In motion is always compared to something else. If two objects are moving at the same velocity and maintaining the same distance between each other, those two objects could be seen as stationary to each other. Is that difficult to understand for anyone?
No.
I believe that was rhetorical.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. I now call all objects that are relatively still as being objects in transit or transiting. Well, no shit. That's everything in the universe. Because everything is in motion to something else. Your mailbox is transiting on the Earth at approximate... What the fuck? Okay, your mailbox is transiting on the Earth, moving at approximately 66,000... Yeah, numerology bullshit. Miles per hour as the Earth orbits the Sun. Your mailbox is not at rest. Well, no shit, because the Earth is not at rest. But, in relation to the Earth, yes, your mailbox is at rest.
Yeah, that's what I'll say. And like, if you really want to look at it, you could say that your mailbox is the center of the universe and the Earth is rotating around it, because from your point of view, or from your mailbox's point of view, it is the center of the universe. The center of the Earth rotates around it. The sun rotates around the Earth. That's what relativity is telling you, is that you know, 1 second to the mailbox is still going to appear as 1 second, whether it's moving or not, having to deal with time dilation. Whereas something that might be moving faster or slower than that is they're still going to see 1 second to the same, they're still going to experience 1 second the same way the mailbox will experience it. But from even an outside observer to them two, he would even experience 1 second for himself as 1 second, but to all of them, they would see the other one experiencing 1 second incorrectly.
Yeah. So, next bit of stupid.
It's the way of resolving the same observations looking different to different people in motion.
Yeah. So second, the speed of light is not the cosmic speed limit. Bullshit. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Need to fucking
what
prove
now?
that.
Do what?
He's saying that C is no longer a limit.
Bullshit alert.
According to my theory, space-time is expanding at a speed far faster than the speed of light, and it accounts for the majority of the cosmos. My theory...
Okay, so... so yes,
yeah.
Okay.
How?
There's one. Okay. First off, the idea that that something is expanding faster than the speed of light, to you, it's expanding faster than the speed of light. It's not actually moving faster than the speed of light. If you take two objects and one is moving at half c and one is moving in one direction and one is moving at half c plus 1 in the other direction, then to each other, they will see the other person. Well, they won't see them, but they will experience the other person moving faster than the speed of light away from them. However, neither one of them are actually moving faster than half c.
Yeah, and even then, if the motion between two objects is greater than c, at some point, they lose direct observation of each other.
Right.
Well, and he's also not entirely. He's not even wrong in this statement, because when the universe expanded from that singularity, for lack of a better word, space-time itself did initially expand at a rate faster than the speed of light. However, we're not talking about a thing that is moving faster than the speed of light. It was space-time itself. C is a limit for what is in the space-time manifold that we're in.
Right.
Yeah, C is
It's not
the
necessarily
limit for anything with mass.
right. It's not necessarily a limit for space-time itself.
I don't think anything with mass can move at the speed of light. To be honest with you.
Right now, that is correct. Well, photons do have a very, 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 very small amount of mass. Otherwise, they would not be measurable. But that is why they are able to move at C, as we can test, because of how infinitesimally massless they are. They're not entirely, but they are the smallest subatomic particle that we've ever been able to measure. But by the equation that Einstein is most famous for, that he came up with, where E equals mc squared, the more mass you have on an object to get up to C, you end up requiring an infinite amount of energy.
Any amount of mass would require an infinite amount of energy to move at the speed of light.
And that's the limitation.
Right.
Most people don't even know that we found the speed of light not through measuring light, but measuring resonant frequencies on electromagnetic. What are they called? God, I can't think of the name. They're like big cylinders, and they measure the resonant frequencies they can use. If they know what the frequency of that they're using, and they know what the resonant frequency is, then they can calculate how fast the waves are moving so that they can resonate with each other. That's how we came up with the speed of light.
I think there was actually a Frenchman that gave a decent ballpark estimate.
Well, it's how we proved it.
1700s.
Yeah, it's how we proved it was through the resonance of electromagnetic waves.
Yeah. Well,
but yes, it was postulated before it was proven.
Well, but this guy actually took a measurement. He used a lamp with a lamp and a mirror, and then he had a disc with holes cut in it, right? And you have a known distance from the lamp to this mirror, and then he rotated this disc in front of the lamp at a known rate, and by calculating the flashes reflecting off of that mirror and coming back to the disc, he was able to, I don't know, calculus.
Well, it's the timing. It really comes down to a timing thing, because actually,
that's what it was.
George Nalchuk and I have talked about this to a couple people, where you can, with the right equipment, which actually is very simple equipment, you can directly measure the speed of light for yourself. The way George and I talked about that both of us have done it independently of each other is with a multi-channel oscilloscope with the timing option, with the ability to measure timing, which is the vast majority of oscilloscopes, especially the older analog ones that the military loves to still use.
Hey, I have both.
And then 2 photochromic diodes, and then a board at a known distance. You use
that pulse generator. Huh?
Yeah. And then even just a light bulb. That's all you need, because what will happen is when you go into a dark room, have the light bulbs up to a switch on one end of the apparatus with the two diodes a known distance apart. Have the one closer to the light in channel 1 to start your trigger, the other diode in channel 2 as your timing pulse along the wave. By doing it that way, you turn on the light, diode 1 will be set off first, diode 2 will be set off second. You can then go to the oscilloscope and see the time delay between the two. Well, to get velocity, it's distance over time. You have a known distance, now you have a time. Basic fucking math. You don't even need calculus or anything.
Team, in the beginning, when I noticed that you guys were online, live. Sorry, I heard you talk about the speed. Were you looking for the difference between relative and absolute speed? That's I can't remember exactly what you were talking about, but if it was time,
we were talking about. Yeah, well, I guess absolute speed is measured against with CMB, or is it just measured against the concept of stationary space? Is that what absolute speed is?
Yeah, well, when we're talking about the speed at which an airplane is traveling, it's about either airspeed, that's relative, or absolute speed. Yeah. Now I even.
Okay. In that case,
the difference between airspeed and land speed.
Relative ground speed.
Relative to,
right.
Yeah. Relative to either the air you're traveling through or the ground.
Right.
Yeah, which most commercial craft, if you're sitting in the passenger seat, when you see a speed listed, they will give the relative ground speed. Because that is typically between 500-600 miles per hour.
Yeah, and that's what people mostly relate to.
Yep.
And what's the airspeed?
Depends
for something that's between 500 ground speed. Okay, yeah, it depends on altitude.
Yeah, it depends on altitude and whether or not you have a tailwind or a headwind.
And if you're using one of those, what are they called? Air corridors? No, super winds or jet streams. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a bit blank. I've been up for way too many hours.
Now,
I'm tired too.
Who here remembers the whole story about the SR-71 Blackbird?
I've actually seen one.
What parts of it?
Which story? Are you talking about the one talking to the Los Angeles Air Traffic Control?
Uh-huh.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think I have that in my history somewhere. A video with, it's not a real ATC frequency recording, but people doing a speed check. It's funny as hell.
All right, keep moving forward, Jared. Where you stop? I'm not sure where you stopped.
So,
by the way, sorry for being so dickish earlier.
Anyway, so my theory explains this by showing that there is an unknown intangible region that does not impede the expansion of space-time. Simply stated, space-time expands through an area that offers no resistance, while all light has to expand through space-time. Therefore, space-time expands out faster than light. No.
Pause.
No.
Argument from ignorance.
It began before. And wow,
yeah. So
before we go further into this, real quick,
for someone who was being critical of 3 dimensions earlier, he's thinking very 3-dimensionally here.
Yeah. Well,
I would say he's actually looking in very 2-dimensional terms, not even 3.
Well,
let me interrupt real quick. Jay, what do you mean by questionable people?
What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. All right, carry on.
Okay, so when he's like, my theory explains this by showing that there's an unknown intangible region, which in the current scientific consensus, that I guess would be the quantum field, in which the 3D or the 3-dimensional space and 4-dimensional time exist within that. And it says it doesn't impede because it wouldn't impede it. They're not in the same dimensions, like
Yeah.
light. I don't know, I guess light would be a bad one to use to explain that. It's just they don't interact with each other, like. Okay, so here a good thing. Light follows the curvature of space-time, but it does not bend space-time itself.
Yeah, that is a fair point.
So space-time can expand through the intangible region or the quantum field. It can expand through all of that without being impeded because it does not interact with it. They might have some kind of, one might, like space-time would probably be influenced by the quantum field, but the quantum field would not necessarily impede space-time. And let's see, what else he says? Simply stated, space-time expands through an area with it. So all light has to expand through space-time, right? So they get that. Okay, back to what I was saying. The path light takes as a consequence of the curvature of space-time, but they don't it's not going to affect the space-time itself.
Yeah, it's a single direction causality, not a dual direction. One affects the other, not vice versa.
Right, and then it says there also, therefore space-time expands out faster than light. No, it doesn't. That's not what that's saying, because you don't even know what the shape of space-time is. You don't know how it expands. You don't even know. Right, we see it as everything getting further away. So from each, who's actually moving faster than the speed of light? It's not a matter of that. It's just a matter of light has to follow this, and it's limited by the speed of light constant. It's limited by whatever mechanism that keeps light from moving faster than the speed of light. That's the only thing, but it doesn't mean that the space-time itself is expanding out faster than the speed of light. It just means points in space-time are expanding faster than the speed of light from certain other points, but locally they're not.
Locally, actually, they're effectively not particularly in any real motion at all.
Right.
But if you look at it from the prospect of the whole, everything is stretching out over and moving away from each other at the same rate of speed, as if we're all still part of this initial singularity. Which, yes, there is. What he's positing here is an area of, quantum. What is a quantum probability area that you're expanding into? And see that the problem with this is we have no evidence of such a thing, and we have no way to get it.
Yeah.
Well, it's an incoherent concept anyhow, because if what is space-time expanding into if there is no space and time to expand into?
Exactly.
I have the answer to that, and I know what we can call it: the quantum Wu field.
Right.
Ooh.
Absolutely, because that's what he's talking about, is a quantum Wu field.
I thought we were talking about gluons. Edgar.
No, that's what this guy is talking about, is a quantum Wu field. He's creating space outside of space, which I'm sure he's going to pin on his god.
Who is this, by the way?
I'm not sure what his name was. I can go look real quick.
Can't be any worse than M. Benz.
Well, at least he's not using Comic Sense.
I know, right?
Nothing. Yeah, no, he's not using any sense. Everything he's saying is just
the font. Comic Sense.
Comic Sans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Team Skeptic. I thought you would know that joke from Aziz Ansari.
No.
And
Aziz Ansari?
Yes, he is a comedian that is generally trash, but at some point in one of his bits, he did a comparison of people to fonts used on resumes or CV letters for the Europeans.
Okay, can I let me make sure I'm reading this right. This is because if a person believes in an expanding cosmos, then that person must believe in a finite cosmos, which is really not even remotely true. If somebody's belief wouldn't enter into this regardless. My theory shows that the quote-unquote Big Bang Theory could have created a cosmos that is infinite till matter and light, which is... That's not even wrong. Am I reading that correctly?
It's incoherent.
Yeah, here's the thing. It really is a false equivocation, because you can go with the Big Bang model of the origins of the cosmos and do not have to be predicated on a finite cosmos, because...
Or anything else for that matter.
Yeah. Because you can have the known universe, which is resultant of, hyper expansion, expanding into something else that is currently beyond our technical grasp, meaning we have no way to directly interface with what was there before the Big Bang, before the hyperinflation. We are limited to the environment created as a result of that reaction.
Yeah, we don't even know if that's even a coherent concept.
I don't see any coherency here.
Oh.
Can we just say argument from ignorance?
No, because he's actually trying to make an argument. He's actually trying to make an argument for belief as an argument of. It's almost an argument to authority, false authority, no less. But yeah,
it's just a straw man. He's saying if you believe this, then you must believe this, and it's not.
Okay.
Can we all agree that he's a fucking idiot?
Yes.
Ding!
That was agreed from the first screen.
No, I just came back.
I wasn't here for that. I was too busy selling shit so I can go to Florida.
Okay. Anyway, what I was saying is that we currently view space-time as flat, which means in theory, as long as the balances are correct, it'll go on indefinitely. However, we can't find some of it, which is not necessarily a problem, but it doesn't, because we have the evidence that we're expanding, but we don't know exactly if it's going to fall back or if it's going to just keep going as he claimed originally. Well, so the problem with this, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, and that's where, just from the data we've collected over the last couple decades, there is an evaluation that posits that the expansion is slightly, but ever so slightly, increasing, not decreasing. But again, until we are able to change our frame of reference for these observations and measurements and compare multiple of them together, it's all conjecture.
Agreed.
So
and
there's something a lot of people don't.
His cosmos is infinite to all objects. Well, unfortunately for him, we have no way to confirm or deny we have no way to confirm this, and the evidence suggests that he's wrong. Very strongly suggests that he's wrong, unless we can get out of the universe we're in for that other frame of reference. He can't make these claims without observations, and he can't make the observations because he's in this universe. He has to get outside it.
But one of the other one of the other observations that we make that say that the universe is expanding is that the red shift that we're seeing in galaxies that are far away, the acceleration is accelerating. Yeah. So it's not just that they're getting further away from us and they're moving faster, but they're moving faster and faster and faster and faster. And there's no evidence yet to say that even the acceleration is getting slower. Like it can still be accelerating away, but it can be accelerating at a slower rate every year or every 10 years or a million years or whatever.
For every billion years, for that matter. At the same time, we're looking at objects back. We're looking at objects back, 12, 13 billion years, and thinking, "Wow, that's moving away at an awfully high clip. What's up with that?"
Yeah.
Well, is there even any ideas as to if it's something being, something pulling or something pushing?
Well, there's no real way to determine that. unless
Now,
but
once we get outside the universe and make that observation, at the same time, every place in the universe looks much like every other place on extremely large scales.
well,
Yeah,
it's
but
like
what I
it's
meant
like
is-
saying
is
like
are
this,
there
Bo.
any-
It's like saying like this: if you have a pocket of air inside of a vacuum, and you open a hole in that pocket of air, and the air expands out from the pocket of air into the vacuum, was it the vacuum pulling out, or was it the pressure pushing out?
Well, that actually
Yeah,
is an
it's-
easy one because we know how the fluid dynamics works, and it always goes from high pressure to low pressure to equalize out.
Right, but what you can do with that is you can always write those equations backwards, giving it writing it from the point of view of the vacuum pulling out. As long as the physics remains the same, there's I mean you have to use
Your mathematic. Go ahead, Bo.
Yeah, it's still a matter of high energy versus low energy. I mean, it's the same reason why you, in a scientific way, cannot say that your fridge is cooling down your beer. It isn't. You cannot move. You cannot cool something down. You can only remove the heat.
right.
You can
Your
heat something
beer
up
is
easy-
actually heating up the fridge.
The refrigerator, which is then
Exactly,
being
yeah.
cooled by another outside source, therefore taking energy out of the system and by expending energy into a different system.
Right, but
Yeah.
what I'm just saying is that you can essentially do the math for it going from either point of view.
Yes, from a quantitative analysis standpoint, you can work it in either direction, and the net resultant force will be the same. Your magnitude will appear to be a polar opposite because of directionality.
Yeah,
Right.
but my original question was is if there are any scientific hypotheses as to what is happening any consensus about what might be happening. If it is a mix of pulling and pushing, or one of the two, or something else. I mean, they haven't
I've
gone
thought
there anyway.
about it. I've thought about it a lot, Bo. There's so many different ideas I have about what could actually be happening out there. What if you look at it like you're a pocket of hot water inside of a large pool of cold water, and the hot water is simply evaporating out into the cold water, where making the cold water just slightly warmer. And then out of nowhere, you have another pocket of warm water that forms from some process that happens. And like in the instance of the Big Bang, it would be the quantum field. So how do we know that we're not just dissipating into the quantum field? When we get down where we're nothing, the universe is nothing but supermassive black holes that are eventually going to coalesce into each other, and then they're all going to break down and through trillions and trillions and trillions of years going to be evaporating away themselves into subatomic particles. And these subatomic particles themselves probably have a process of breaking down into this back into the quantum field just to give it enough energy to bam hit again. And then there's the other people that think that we're going to reach a point at which the acceleration stops accelerating and it starts decelerating to the point that there's an actual recollapse of everything back onto to the center of the galaxy, or the center of the universe, ultimately beginning to another.
Okay, may I for just a moment? I want to step in here just real quick, please. Does that mean that that over, because space and time are essentially the same object? Would that not mean that we would just kind of everything would start running backwards until I have to get up out of my grave, live my life in reverse, go through puberty and backwards, and then jump back, and then
for anything that can
Hey everyone.
anything that can grasp the concept of time, you can't move backwards in time.
Well,
so,
again, almost as much of a joke as anything else, but that would be a possibility. When it really comes,
here's the thing. That possibility would become possible if you have the energy to do it.
I agree. Now, Sean Carroll has a different thing in which we have our universe going this way, and there's another one effectively identical going in the opposite direction.
Okay, but going implies direction. Direction implies something that's
Well,
not moving.
here's my question. I'm a bit confused about something which I've been looking into, and I don't know, it's just a bit confusing. Like with string theory, the inside of a black hole, if a big bang, if there's gonna be a big crunch, if these big bangs happen all the time throughout millions and millions of years, if they're like soda pop bubbles, they just come into existence every once in a while. So there's a lot of ideas floating around there,
Yeah.
Oh, do you mean soda pop bottles as bubbles as in nucleation?
The carbonation.
Carbonation. Yeah.
But the bubbles in a pop can is because of nucleation.
Yes, but
no, I'm just giving it as an example.
Yeah, I see.
Just a visual.
It's a visual representation of one of the postulates about the ultimate end of the universe, of how it's going to keep expanding until it ruptures and completely falls apart. And
also known as the Big Rip.
Yeah, and what's interesting is all of this really is just pure speculation when it comes to that sort of stuff, because again, we are limited to our known universe as our frame of reference for measures and observations and detection. Until we manage a way to get outside to get a true comparative measure, we're stuck in this philosophical.
Yeah, until you go outside. Well, yeah, until you go outside of the snow globe, those tiny snow globes, to see what it's composed of, how it works. You can't really tell for sure when you're inside the snow globe.
Yeah.
I want to say that the intellectually honest people of us, would only try to explain things in terms of what we actually know about, physics.
Yeah.
Right.
Which then again, this is not strictly about, creationists, for example.
Well, on top of that, I figure at the ultimate end of this, he is claiming knowledge that he cannot have, and that's really his biggest stumbling point. He can't form three laws out of the first law of motion because, quite frankly, he hasn't got enough of a grip on the first law to make it to even make it worth his time to try. And the only real intellectually honest answer to what he's doing here is, I don't know. I have no fucking clue.
we have an epistemic barrier that we just can't cross.
Yeah. And there's no way.
Here's the interesting thing. That this whole Big Bang theory and like how the universe was created, like even looking at parallel universes, if you want to talk about that subject as well, like parallel universes. Well, like I was talking about these bubbles. Because I was talking about these bubbles. They come into existence. Every now and again, these universes pop into existence. So, on one hand, if it's a very simple thing. If you look at, there was an old TV show called Sliders. Where in every universe you have another outcome of history. The Russians won the war, and subtle variations that determine history in a very different way, So there's multiple possibilities.
That is the expected outcome of the many world hypothesis, in that we have not one universe but a vast multiverse where every little decision could result in a completely different outcome.
It's like the butterfly effect.
Yeah. A butterfly swings in China, and and New Jersey gets dumped in.
And there's a baby being born somewhere in Norway.
How about trying to explain this though? Okay, the definition of infinity, right, is unending, basically, right? So if you say that, let's say in one moment in space, or one moment in space time, you have a variable. Let's say it's you have a
I have an
The
answer to
number, okay.
infinity.
So
I have an answer
hold
to
on.
infinity.
Well,
Wait,
hold
let
on,
him
hold on.
finish.
So
Let
let's
him
say everything beyond that requires that that given. So let's say you have you at one point you reach into a jar and you pull out a blue marble, right? And you put that blue marble into another jar. And now, and according to the many worlds interpretation, there's an infinite possibility of what else could be in that jar, except what's not taken out of the other jar.
Can I give a stupid example? Can I turn into a flat earther for a couple of seconds?
Sure.
Knock yourself
Compression.
Density buoyancy.
No, but you have to understand what I'm saying. Infinity is limited.
The whole buoyancy thing. I eviscerated that shit long time ago.
But yeah, you see what I'm saying though, that infinity still has its limits based on the givens of the equation. So you can say at any point moving in time forward in time, you can say, well, there's an infinite possibilities as long as all the possibilities in that infinite set also conform to this one point of time that was the defining point of time where we said from this point forward we're going to be looking at all the options going forward. Well, let's say your options are red shirts, blue shirts, pink shirts, or whatever. Well, if you don't take a black shirt with you, then there is no option for black shirts in that universe, as long as your point of reference is from after you packed your suitcase and went on your trip. If it was from before, then you could say, oh, instead of the red shirt, I put in.
So yeah, if you don't have the knowledge of that black shirt existing,
then it couldn't be a possibility.
Exactly.
Impossible.
It's not even a possibility of the infinite possibilities.
But there's also a problem with that analogy, because according to the B theory of time, there's no relative. There's no absolute reference point, right? Everything is relative to each other. So you could potentially have things from our perspective. Our perspective, time moves linearly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's only from our limited perspective. And I had a physicist explain this to me, and it went right over my head. But basically, the bottom line was that everything has already happened. There's no time doesn't flow. Time only flows linearly from our perspective.
Right. And Richard Feynman talks a lot about that.
So until we can manage to build a spaceship or some sort of device and get close to a black hole and see what the effects of time dilation are.
But time dilation still keeps both people moving in the same direction forward.
Yes, but at slower speeds in relation one to each other.
Well, you couldn't. Let's say you couldn't send a ship to a black hole, and then the ship comes back and it hasn't taken off yet.
No. It doesn't work like that. Like I don't really believe in time going backwards, although it's a possibility, a very slight possibility, if you have the right energy and the right knowledge, let's say, and the right materials. But the way we see how the universe works right now, and from my knowledge anyway, is that when you get close to a black hole, time flows differently. So 10 minutes for me in the time dilation ring of a black hole would mean 10 or 100 years in Earth years. So for me, 10 minutes close to a black hole, that's like 10 or 100 years on Earth, plus the journey.
Yeah, but you would still move forward in time, though. Both of you would still move forward in time from the point that you left the Earth.
You're just one's doing so much more quickly than the other.
But yeah, neither one of them are actually going backwards in time, though. Neither one of them could ever pass information on to each other that would violate that paradox.
Here's a fun one for you.
There's a theory.
Hey,
Go,
guys,
Hobo. Yeah.
Hey, may I? Sean, thank you. Here's a fun one for you. Has anybody considered the idea of taking a ship and moving it off to, I don't know, about 2100 light years, and get with the most powerful telescope that could ever be constructed, and pointing it at the frickin' Earth, you would actually have been. That would theoretically be a backwards time move. You could see what was going on Earth 2100 years ago. You know,
that's just
yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense because
what I want to do is I want to point.
No, he's got a point.
The Middle East,
No,
and
I know.
see what happens. Spend about 40, 50 years just watching.
What?
No, but Holbo has a point. Look at it this way. When we're looking at the stars right now, at any constellation you see on the sky at night, right? You're actually looking in time because it takes X amount of light years for that light from that constellation to travel through space and get to us.
I must call drink on you, good sir.
Actually, I was trying to make a very bad joke about the certain idiotic people trying to convince certain astrophysicists to get the Hubble Space Telescope turned around to point at either the moon or the Earth. I mean, that was,
I
can't
get
even
you.
get it to focus.
John,
You
you actually restated the point that I was just working on.
Yeah.
I think this guy in his paper misspelled dimensional. Is that?
Also, I have to call drink on the person who said light years to get to one from one place to another, because technically light years are a measure of distance, not time.
Yeah.
It's both.
Yes, they're a measure of distance. No, he's right. He's right. So it takes X amount of time to travel. We're not going to measure in kilometers or miles. We're going to measure in light years. Like how long does it take light to travel this distance? So that's why we measure in light years.
Yeah, but when you say it's going to take, when you say it in a reference to time, it's going to take this many years.
Drop it.
Pelt.
Drop
Pelt.
it.
When you're
He's
talking,
already agreed that he misspoke. Move on.
Okay.
I misspoke.
It was a slight misspeak, but it was actually not an unacceptable one, because when you're talking about that sort of scale, when you're talking about cosmological scales and the topic at hand, using just the term light years is a good one, because you're talking about the distance and also the amount of time that it took for the observation to be able to occur.
Yes.
Okay, my mistake.
Yeah, because I'm not going to measure in miles. I'm going to give a simple reference in light years. The amount of distance light has to travel.
And with what we were talking about, how far back in time you are looking at the same observation. It's that duality.
That's what I'm saying. We're looking at a replay right now. Nothing is live when you're looking at the night sky and you're looking at a constellation. You're looking at a replay.
Oh, yeah, we're literally
Sean,
looking at something that has happened.
Sean, are you familiar with the quantum eraser delayed choice experiment?
Wait, no. I think I'm thinking about something else.
You need to inform yourself about that experiment. It's a fairly recent experiment. Wait.
Are you talking about particles behaving as waves?
Well, yes, but what I'm talking about is actual.
It's the effect of observation on a particle that determines if it's a wave or a particle.
No. It's always a particle. It just acts as a wave or acts as a particle, but
only when observed.
Well, only when observed,
finish,
detected, measured. But what I'm saying is that there's an experiment.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Well, that's the double slit. The
double slit experiment. That's the one that I'm.
The delayed choice is the double slit experiment, but ran a different way to show that time is time. There's no understandable concept of time that humans can grasp onto, because we can always say, well, there's no way to move backwards in time, but we can show an experiment that apparently shows backwards movement in time. Now we can't do anything with this violation of, with this paradox, the violation of the paradox. We can't. There's always something that keeps.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Einstein didn't rule it out. He didn't rule it out. He said it may be very hard to do, but he didn't rule it out. Look at it this way. You build a machine that has a very exotic component or material that would allow you to try time travel. But here's the hitch. Here's the problem. You can only time travel back to when the machine was first started.
Right.
You can't time travel beyond the time that that machine was started and the gateway to time travel was opened. So if you open it today and then 20 years in the future, you want to go back to this exact date when the button was switched on, that's it. That's the only that's
what makes
how
you
much
think
you can
that
go
that's
back
the,
in time.
what makes you think that that's the limiting factor in going back in time?
The
Like,
medium.
That's with saying that there's a need to go back to the machine. What if you didn't have to go back to the machine? What if you could go back beyond the machine? What you're talking about is
that's my confusion.
right?
That's where I'm Yeah,
Well,
because
communicator
you won't
wouldn't
be able to send particles. You may be able to send particles through that machine back in time and send a message to people, right? And here's the interesting thing. If you do manage to send a message like back in time, like without all these movies, essentially you're creating a different universe that's going to be very different to yours.
Exactly. And that's why there's paradoxes that we can't beat yet. We don't know how to beat them. Every time we try to come up with a way of beating a paradox, we can't. You know, if you say, oh, just like Jeranism.
Because the grandfather paradox is the best example, the grandfather paradox.
Yeah, if you went back and killed your grandfather, you'd actually be killing him in a different universe because the universe you come from has you that exists there, and therefore you would only be able to influence another universe, even if those two universes had a shared timeline of to the point where you murdered your grandfather.
At that point where I murder him, that's where the universe splits.
That is, and that goes back to what I said when I said, you know, that the possibilities of the infinite possibilities are limited to the possibilities or to what the previous timeline up to that point have given them. So it is still infinite. There's still an infinite number of possibilities that could happen moving forward, but every one of those possibilities will share the timeline of up to the point where it breaks off.
Yes, you will have a common timeline. I agree with you on that. Yeah. But there was like I don't know, if you look like into pop culture and all that, you know, if you would be able to create a very strong gravity field around the spaceship and actually go inside a black hole, that's where things get interesting, where you can actually shield your ship and go inside the black hole, right? And see, and again, there's many theories on that. You know, do you go back in time to when the black hole was created? There's let me see.
I mean, those are all hypothetical theories.
But... Yeah, hypothetical, but it's still interesting to like think about them,
oh no, absolutely. These are the type of things that I think about when I do like my meditations and stuff. I really kind of meditate, and I try to postulate.
Or do you go into another universe? Do you like is that no? Because like here's I've seen an analogy where this is actually interesting. Information isn't destroyed, you know, like you are basically information when you go into a black hole, right? So the best analogy I've seen on that subject is filling up a sink with water, right, and putting the plug. You've got space as the water, as the medium, right? Then you add the matter. The matter would be consisted of ink droplets. You know, ink dissolved into water spreads out, right?
Right.
And it becomes homogeneous, right? When you pull the plug, that ink doesn't get destroyed. It just goes down the drain. It goes somewhere. That's the best analogy we have so far.
Right, but
the information isn't destroyed, it's just redistributed in another way that we can't really comprehend right now. We don't have the technology to comprehend.
Which is where they think that that the information is smeared on the outside of the black hole as it's tearing it apart from as it's tearing matter apart at its constituent
Particulates.
Particles, yeah. So then it's tearing all these down, it's tearing quarks apart, it's tearing everything, and it's smearing it across the face of the black hole as information about what it tore apart. But could you take that information and rebuild what was torn apart? That's the real question that they're.
If you have the design, if you have the design in hand, it's like working with a blueprint. If you have the blueprint, right, you have the tools, you have the energy to do it, then by all means, it can be back engineered.
Right, but you have to know everything about it.
Well, here's the interesting thing. It's going to be homogeneous.
You have to know everything about it, but you also have to know that there is nothing more to know about it. I don't know how else to explain it.
Right,
because it's going to be mixed up. You won't tell if it's a hydrogen particle or if it's a carbon particle. It's going to be all mixed up into its basic components.
Right. Now, you should definitely look into the Feynman diagrams. They talk a lot about backwards in time travel. Of course, it's only at the quantum scale, so things of our nature, we can't do it. And it's not really particles that are moving backwards. It's virtual particles and quantum information that moves backwards in time. But it still says, hey, it's moving backwards in time. The way we see time, it's moving backwards in time. Now, that's not to say that we see time properly. We just understand what happens and we label it as time.
It's a concept at this point.
Right.
Like
it's a concept.
From what science tells us and what we've learned so far, it's a concept. It's a, we call it, it's a way of monetizing, let's say, monetizing our time, quote unquote. I don't know how to explain it properly, but it's just the way
we resolve the universe changing around us. We have to say, well, it was this state, now it's this state. Even if we look back at the very next moment of time backwards, we will always understand that as a concept, as the universe was in this state. Well, when we say it was in this state, we introduce the concept of time. The state it was in before the state it is in now. And so by saying, okay, well, what is that before? Where is that before? Well, that before is backwards in time.
Yeah, and not to be judgmental, but when we do that, we have made an error of presupposing something. I mean, in my mind, I cannot fathom a life form or a universe or a dimension or whatever that exists without time. But it's a balance of how much
time should be universal.
How much can we allow ourselves to assume to be a standard or obvious? I mean, it was back several 10,000s of years. It wasn't obvious that the Earth was. I almost said flat. What was a ball. But back then it wasn't unreasonable to say that the place we live in is a flat plane. It wasn't wrong for people to say that, even though it isn't true.
It was a concept because they couldn't grasp the reality around them.
Exactly. Also, it wouldn't have been unreasonable for a guy in the 1600s. Just to make sure, the 1500s.
Yeah, just about the 1600s. They didn't have the tools.
To say that it is it wouldn't be unreasonable to say. Of course, it's impossible to communicate with someone further away than the horizon, if they even knew what a horizon was.
Well,
for example,
they knew what
radio or whatever it was.
Yeah, they knew what it was, and that's why if you notice a lot of that old era watchtowers were from visual horizon to visual horizon. That way they could use them as signal beacons if shit was going on.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, also lighthouses, at least in Denmark, probably also in England, were built so that all the lighthouse keepers could what do you call it? If one lighthouse keeper saw someone in trouble or whatever, needed to alert everybody else, he could do that with just from his lighthouse, and the lighthouse next to him would be able to see it, and the next one to him would be able to see it, and so on.
Yeah, when they were majorly in use and actually properly manned and maintained, that was part of the lighthouse network, was that communication along the coast for those reasons in those instances. And we actually still, up this way on the east coast of the U.S., still have quite a number of...
weren't being used. I mean, lighthouses. They're still, at least in Denmark, they are essential still as a visual aid.
Here, they're not as prevalent due to the requirement for...
Chad, you use GPS. You guys use GPS and all that. There's no need for lighthouses.
Well, except for the communications aspect, which is why the number of manned lighthouses has gone down to less than 1% of what it was in their at their peak.
And also, just to put in a different angle on it, something that I have always wondered about: every single Danish Air Force base has a what do you call that? A rotating, very narrow beam of light, as if it was a lighthouse, so to speak. I've always wondered why they do that, why they use that. I mean, it's not really needed. You don't see civilian airports with that necessarily, but all the Danish Air Force bases and the civilian / Air Force airports have a tower with a rotating beam of light.
I live way out in the country in a little bitty town that I'm near. There's only about 4,400 people in it, but there's a little tiny airport there for small planes, mostly crop dusters and whatnot. But they have that same thing. They have a tower with a rotating beacon light, and that's exactly what it is. It's a beacon light for pilots to be able to visually identify where the airport is.
Yeah, but that's the thing. There's different levels of aviation. You have pilots and aircraft that together are certified to fly completely VFR, visual flight rules, but also planes are completely certified to fly, use instrument. What do you call it? Fly via instrumentation. Some planes have the GPS, but as far as I know, there is not one single commercial aircraft that is allowed to use GPS as its primary navigation system. It's still on a basis, as far as I know.
Definitely not as its sole means of navigation. You always need to have several, multiple redundant systems.
Oh yeah, it's just I still hear people, what do you say? Claim that aviation, what do you call it? The Airbuses, KLM or Air France or whatever it is, they use a GPS for navigation. No, they don't. They use inertial navigation, and can't remember what they're called right now. Ground-based radio beacons for navigation. They use GPS as a secondary, but it's not part of the actual navigation.
I had a girlfriend's father pick us up here.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing on GPS and like assisted types of navigation and all of that. In case of a solar storm, those are gonna fail. All of the electronics are gonna fail. But if you got conventional like compasses and lighthouses and like the old stuff, that won't fail.
Which is why GPS is not the primary.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, it doesn't have to be a CME, a coronal mass ejection. It could just be interference coming from the sun in general. That is enough to interfere with GPS operation. It doesn't have to be a solar storm. It can just be the solar wind. In fact, the last a week ago, And then a couple of weeks back from that point, there has been very problems with GPS operation in certain latitudes over quite a bit of time of varying degree. Not because there's any solar
Is it on the
storms.
northern hemisphere?
Well, and the southern as well. But there's a whole.
So that's why I've got problems with my phone's GPS.
Yeah, there's a field called solar weather, and it's a science all on its own. It's actually quite intriguing.
No, I know. I mean, there was a big blackout in Canada in the 90s because of that. It blacked out Ontario, I think.
It knocked out the power grid, and it also took out at least one satellite that ended up eventually losing altitude and burning up. But I can't remember if it blew up or they eventually regained control. It's too far back. I'm trying to look for it right now. But no, there's actually... I can't remember what her channel is called. I think it's Space Weather Woman on YouTube. She actually explains this very well. Every week she comes with
and here comes the where another like debunk of flat Earth and all of that. How can we have a magnetic field on a flat Earth? That's another interesting question.
They're called monopoles.
Which don't freaking exist.
They don't exist.
But
Well, they hypothetically exist, but I think they only hypothetically existed at the moment of the Big Bang. I did a little bit of research on it, but they're hypothetical particles. They're not even. No one's ever seen a monopole ever. Everything we've ever seen is dipole.
But do you, Team Skeptic, or anyone else have you? Can't speak anymore. Have you ever heard of any flat earthers trying to explain magnetic fields?
Yeah, toroidal fields. They just say it's toroidal fields.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that goes.
Guys, I'm sorry, guys. I have to leave. If you don't mind. Red just went online. I'm gonna go and watch his show. If you guys don't mind.
Well, it's not. It's non-sec, so he's.
Yeah.
It's
they're not online.
Flat. It's the flatter night.
Sorry.
Flatter day fight night. Flatter day.
I will say this. I will say this right here. Everybody, Tau Ceti Alpha is going to be doing his first premiere tonight. After the non-sec show. So anybody who's not busy in about 2 to 3 hours, be looking out for Tau Ceti Alpha. I will definitely be there.
Cool.
And you know what, team? I haven't. Yeah, I have been too lazy /
later
busy.
peeps.
Take it easy, man. Good talking with you.
Bye, Sean.
To find out what that.
Take it, everyone. Keep it flat. Remember, keep it flat.
Feck you.
Yeah, feck you.
No, I pronounced that wrong. It's feck you.
Yeah. What is that premiere stuff really for? I mean, is it just a gimmick, really?
It's kind of. It's a hybrid between a regularly launched video and a live stream.
So
yeah, exactly. I mean,
here's what it gives you the ability to do. I'm sorry. No, what were we gonna say?
What Soundly, for example, did. I can't remember when he started doing it. You know, the 24/7 stuff. Where it was technically a live stream, but it was just pre-recorded. That thing is, but doing what I saw with the, first time, I don't know if Jay Brown is back yet, but he did a premiere thing with the, what is it called? Jim Acosta's thing. That was recorded and then, put out live, but it was a recording. I find that kind of annoying when you see a guy doing his regular live stream where he also, in some cases interacts with the audience.
Right.
You see this? I saw that premiere stuff. Oh, okay, cool. Started watching, and what was that? And I just made a comment about, what is that? I can't remember specifically. Doesn't matter. I asked the question, no response. Not even in the live chat.
Was it on my premiere? Because I don't remember.
No, someone else.
I think it was Jay Brown's that I noticed it. But you can't see. It would be nice if we were able to see as an audience if this was pre-recorded.
Well, yeah, okay. So a premiere here's what a premiere is. So so there's two types of things that you can do with YouTube. Number one is content creation, and the other one is live stream. Okay, so in live streaming, there is an aspect of actually talking to the audience and reacting with the audience from like a vocal point of view. Like you could read the live stream, and say, "Oh, this and that," and talk to them,
Yeah,
and you can react to what they say and whatnot. The content creation, what you would normally do before, is just post a video and everybody would go watch it and they would leave a comment or whatever, during their first time watching the video.
I get the vision of it. That's
Yeah, so all it's really there for is just to be able to everybody watch it together for the first time. It's almost like a grand opening of a movie. You're all going to watch that movie together with the person who created the movie. So that's what the purpose of the premiere is. It is kind of like a live stream, only in the sense that it has a live chat. It doesn't
Guys,
necessarily.
I'm back. Unfortunately, the non-sec show apparently it's not starting. I think we're gonna have a no-show from one of these flat earthers.
No, I saw what something Steve posted in there. He said that there was that he's stuck in traffic and that he's going to be 15 minutes late.
It'd be fun to try and coax his approximate, the guy who was supposedly
Well, they just went live though.
in traffic. Yeah, I saw that. The approximate location of him, and then just go to Google Maps to see if there's any congestion.
Wait, you're a stalker.
You know why he's running late, right? He's using the flat Earth as a map.
Who is it that's late? Is it Brother Ernest?
Yep. Good question.
If it's
Brother Ernest.
If it's Ernest,
yeah.
it is conceivable for him to be in traffic because Boston fucking sucks for that shit, no matter the time of day.
Wow.
Skeptic, what you said
Ducking
earlier?
lunatic. Your head says no challenge.
I would say that just in an not it sounds harsher than I mean it, but I think it would be moral if you did that premiere thing with a pre-recorded video. Tornado.
Sorry.
And you actually engage with your audience in the live chat. That would be,
I think he's
if
live.
I did it, I would be
he's live now.
Yeah, I would consider it. I would be if I did it, I would consider it a responsibility for me to at least be in the live chat then.
And be in the live chat and have something on there that says previously recorded. Like,
yep, exactly.
Like for me, it makes sense on the premiere side. Like, so come this later this. Wow.
Who is that?
Was that me?
Yes, that was you.
Oh, that was my error. Sorry about that. Hey, wait a minute.
Hey,
I accidentally piped the non sequitur show directly to you guys.
Yeah, I can do that if you want. I can put Red's rhetoric.
That's not it. I was surprised. I wasn't supposed to be able to do that.
No worries. Don't worry about
it. Well, apparently Red went live, so guys, I'll see you around if you're here like later on.
Yep, see you around.
Yeah, if you don't, but anyway, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on the Hangout. It's really interesting to get to know you guys and talk about these interesting things. Not so much as about flat Earth because it's a stupid thing, but it's nice to see people that. It's nice to see people talking about the reality around us and what makes our reality tick and how we can go and look past beyond that. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why we're here. But back to the whole premiere thing. So in the next couple months when I start
take care, guys.
Take care.
When
I start doing the actual produced content for the motovlog, I'll be doing some of those as premieres, but I'll be in the live chat, and it'll be just that. It'll be a regularly produced video. It won't look like the live stream. And that's the thing is, and this goes to everyone out there watching and listening after the fact, if you see this interface on the show that you see now, it'll be a live stream. And you'll be able to interact with myself and everyone else in the panel directly through the chat. But the produced content, the videos, the moto vlogs, whatever else we end up doing, if it's a premiere, it'll be noticed as that, and it won't have the same visual appearance. It won't have the same presentation. It will be markedly different.
Yeah, but on YouTube side of it, did they set up any ground rules, so to speak, in terms of do you have to use you have to use the Premiere sticker there, but do you have to use pre-recorded, or is it okay to be live actually, or
no? It's all pre-recorded. It's an actual. It's a hybrid between content creation and live stream.
Okay, so that's part of the so-called rules to be that it has to be pre-recorded material.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you were doing it live, then it would be a live stream.
I'm going to be watching the live stream between Brad Frederick and brother Ernest. Okay, bye. I'll be back later if we're still live.
See ya.
See you, Jared.
See ya.
Bye, Jared.
Yeah. What the? I just took a short look on the feed from Nonsec and looked at Red's logo, thumbnail.
666.
666 and then 33 in the I was thinking about the unfortunately the Air Force and the Navy apparently doesn't do it anymore, but the the decals on the planes to see how many, you can see how many planes they've taken down, or boats, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can't.
I thought that was what was the, God damn it! I thought that was what they had done, or he had done on his logo, but nope.
Tanks used to do the same thing, except instead of having kill marks painted on it, it was kill rings on the gun tube. They wouldn't let us do that anymore.
But by the way, why did they start disallowing that? By the way, do you know, Jared? Putting downgrades, number of downs and so on.
It's a time of war type thing, and it really was air wing specific on putting the markings there. So if you have a jackass tightwad as a wing commander, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, the rules vary from command to command. I know with us, with the tanks, they would not allow us to paint kill rings on the gun tube, and the reasoning was because it was confusing. We already had at the end of the gun tube rings painted on the end of it to indicate which platoon we were from. So third platoon had 3 rings on the end.
That indication is obvious. I mean, that's.
Yeah. But
that would come natural, but the number of takedowns, or whatever you want to call it, that's the part I was thinking about completely.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I got to get off of here. I got to go run and grab a bite to eat before this debate thing gets all into it and shit. But...
Oh, and there's the Swede, Norwegian guy that we can torment in the live chat too, on the non-sex show.
Which guy?
Halsoy is in there.
Oh, I already called him a bad human.
Oh no, he's really bad for not being in here when he has access to the link.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but then again, hasn't he said that he's not too fond of his time in the service? I can't remember.
Oh my God! Did you see what Houseway just said in the chat, in the live chat?
Did not.
Oh my God! What a dickhead! It says Jeranism makes better content than Team Skeptic. Change my mind.
You know what? We just might have to do a show about that and get him on air to defend the comment.
Screenshot for
yeah, screenshot or it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Oh my God, low blow, bro.
And actually, you know what? With that show starting up, and honestly, it's 9:30. I do need to get a bite to eat myself and everything. So it won't be a typical 3+ hour long show because, well, we're not leading into movie night, and we have other shows I know other people are going to be interested in. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up now. And actually, I have an announcement for some
Hey,
people.
Congratulations on your 300, man.
Thank you.
At 306,
I remember.
I think it is to be.
I remember my first beer.
Yeah, 60 years ago or something.
Right.
Old guy.
I'm 40, but it's probably been 28
Weren't you
years.
50 something? I thought you
No,
said you were
40.
well, no, mid 40. Okay, fair enough.
I'm 40.
No, I'm the old fucker.
Oh yeah, but yeah, 307 subs right now, Jared.
Yeah.
On my
Nice.
end, at least.
Oh, Heat Shield. Oh, how little you think of me.
Or how little you need to make fun of anything and everything.
Well,
and everyone.
That too.
In a good way, but yeah.
But so the announcement I have, so I've actually been giving a lot of thought to the motovlog content that I'm going to be doing, and with that, I figured, and what I figured I would end up actually having to do, just to really help and not worry about YouTube and its insane algorithms, and I don't really want to call it censorship, but it kind of is. So each vlog I do is actually going to end up having two versions, a YouTube cut and then an uncensored version. Yeah, and then an uncensored one. The uncensored one will be available through my Patreon. And unfortunately, the censored, so minimal to no swearing type of bullshit, is going to be here on YouTube. See, here's the thing. I can't stop myself from swearing most of the time, so live shows, oh, you bet your fucking ass there's going to be a lot of shit that should be bleeped out otherwise. But so, the YouTube content will still be there. We'll have some filter going on when it comes to those sorts of details. If you want the full uncut...
And the tagging also makes a difference.
Yeah. And if you want the full uncut, uncensored, it's going to be on my Patreon. And... to talk
guys,
about...
I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go, guys.
Yeah. All right, later, Skeptic.
Later, man.
See ya.
Yeah.
So to show you what bikes are going to be involved, this is the Daily Commuter. Ducati Monster 620, and what's nice is...
Oh, so not a push bike, okay.
Heated grips. So I will be riding longer in the season. Let me go this. Come on. There we go. Tire screen. This screen. There we go. There. Now public and.
Okay.
And the chat can see it. So this is the main Daily Commuter. I'm also going to have a weekend toy that will be making appearances on the channel as well. Which is this beauty.
A proper crotch rocket.
Oh no, even I wouldn't say a proper crotch rocket. I would say a refined sport bike. Because this bike is not all about just top end speed and brutal performance. While yes, this thing will fucking move and does go quick, it's also nimble as shit. And that's the thing, I love the turns. I love the twisties. It's not just about going fast in a straight line.
Okay, there's something I don't understand at all. When you say limble, I mean, if we were talking about a car, for example, you have a low center of gravity and you have a lot of grip, or you have a bad grip and a high center of gravity, that would make sense in terms of saying it's limble. But a motorbike with two wheels?
Oh, yeah. Because keep in mind, so you have the gyroscopic effect going, so, and with a bike, most of your turning input is not an actual blatant change of direction in the front wheel. It is that lean angle. combined with the speed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where a bike like this, you get going, you can flick from one side to the other pretty damn fucking quick, depending on your skill and your confidence level and your comfort. So that's where two wheels get to be much more nimble than a car, because how it turns, the physics of how it turns.
Yeah, but that's not exactly what I meant. What I meant was that this guy or girl, however, compared to your daily commute,
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't be able to corner faster or slower, right?
Yeah, it would.
Depending on the same, if you do this, have the same speed, for example.
Well, at the same speed, yes, this one will have better handling performance than this bike for a couple reasons. One, when it comes to traction, while they have the same dimension and profile for the front wheel, the rear wheel on this bike is actually narrower than on this one. So you actually have a little better traction for better drive on the sport bike. Also, the seating position plays a big factor as well. On this bike, it puts more weight towards the front wheel, which lets you manipulate where your weight is to affect the handling easier and more efficiently on this bike versus this one, which is a more upright seating position. This is actually a little bit between fully upright and a 3/4. So a slight lean forward, whereas on this one, you really are leaned forward and is actually meant to be going higher speed, closer to the bike itself.
I noticed that there aren't any footrests, or is that because you have that you're shielded?
So this one, actually, no, the foot pegs are right here. Are right.
Oh, I thought they were in front though.
Nope.
I mean,
not
behind a cowl or something.
Nope.
Not on a crotch rocket like this, because you're leaning over, so your feet are going to be further back.
Yeah. Your feet are, your foot pegs are about the middle of the seat back on the sport bike. But the difference of this one is a monoposto, so it's only meant for the rider, for the driver. No passenger will ever be on this bike.
No.
This one, you have the rider input foot pegs, again, just forward of where the middle of my seat is. But it also has pegs for a passenger, because this rear cowling will come off and expose the rest of the seat, so I could have a passenger behind me on this bike.
But does any of those two have ABS?
No ABS, no traction control, none of that advanced stuff.
I got to tell you, I would not want to be a passenger on that bike. That would put my legs way too close to that exhaust.
See this right here? So with your butt here, right here, about a quarter to a third of the way into the rear tire is where the passenger footrests are. All this black bit here is a carbon fiber heat shield.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because that was right where that right where you're pointing, just forward of the muffler, is right where I was thinking that my lower calf would be sitting. And that, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a heat shield. Yeah, it's a heat shield. Plus, you should also be wearing full length pants and never shorts on a bike, no matter the weather.
That's the thing that freaks me out. That people, when I see people on motorbikes at home here, the insanity of someone getting on a crotch rocket, or a motorbike of any type, in shorts and a t-shirt and just I wouldn't even call it a helmet, but it more or less looks like a horse riding hats. There's no actual with no actual ability to decelerate. It's just, are you insane? I just don't get it. Why do people do that to themselves?
That is natural selection at work.
So I don't have an image of my helmet saved, But this is the level that I went with. Even to that one.
All right. By the way, Jared, since you can't really read the our internal chat at the moment, there was a recent comment by the Non Sequitur Show, probably Steve. Any flat earthers here in the in the non-sec live stream chat that wants to join in?
See,
what does that sound like?
See, they run away from red. I called it. So this is the lid that I have, that I would never go a lower level of safety than this for myself, let alone whoever's going to be with me when I have a passenger.
Well, just a short question here. When we talk about when people talk about gaming computers or just good quality computers, you talk about the power supply. They use a classification system, not just for the wattage, but also the quality of it. Is there the same type of class system for helmets? In terms of the ability to decelerate the head, or
So there are 3 different certifying bodies for a helmet and for motorcycle helmets. You have your U.S. DOT, Department of Transportation, which is a garbage requirement, but it is the minimum legal requirement for a helmet here in the U.S. and Canada. Its gauge actually had it as a 400G impact. Think about
GE?
G's. So the helmet had to withstand 400 times the force of gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not exactly the best standard. The other 2, the more common 2, are the ECE, the European
cap, or what is it?
Yeah, the governing body for motor vehicle safety equipment in the European Union. They are a better standard, but the coup de grace is the Snell 2015. The Snell Foundation is actually the same requirement that is required for a helmet to be on a closed circuit racetrack. Has to withstand multiple impacts. They test it at what is deemed to be the weakest point of the helmet. The technicians who do the active testing will find that point and test all the standards there. So if Arai, which is the company helmet that fit me the best, that I actually was hoping would fit the best, because all of their helmets are to exceed the rating for Snell, they're looking at the highest rating and exceeding that on a performance standard. Now, when it came to deciding which helmet to get, so you saw the colorway of the one that I actually ended up going with. The other one that... No, I don't want to be... There we go. There was another Arai that I was debating with, which... The only reason why I did not go with it is because of the price. So as you saw, I ended up getting this helmet for a little over $500, all included. Now we're in Arai. So I'm going through, making sure I get it all. There it is. And present entire screen there. And I will bring it over to you guys shortly after I make the switch in OBS. There we go.
Oh, you haven't played with connecting an extra keyboard and fixing it to OBS alone for hotkeys?
Oh, I haven't played with OBS all that much. Actually, the next update is going to be a 3rd monitor. That way I can more easily go between the meeting audio visual, and then
different sources. Yeah.
and then have have another monitor dedicated just to controls. That way, it's easier to switch between. But this was the other colorway that I was considering. I mean,
that's a brain bucket.
Yeah, and you figure,
well,
I wanted to stand out. I want to be seen on the road, because that's the biggest thing.
I find it well disappointing that I'm sure that Aral is proud of their product. Yeah, Arai, sorry, are proud of their products, but do they have to be that obnoxious with their logos? They could be smaller.
Well, I
mean, they're just right in your face.
It's part of how they are in their branding and everything. Because keep in mind, so this helmet here is actually a replica of Nicky Hayden's last helmet that he was wearing before he passed away, which was only a little over a year ago now.
As a racetrack driver, or
he raced in the World Superbike, MotoGP, the American Superbike class way back when he started. He has been a multiple-time world champion, and in recent memory, he has been one of the most successful American-born motorcycle racers internationally.
Okay.
But
it's just the only type of motorsport I'm interested in is, and it's hard to find sometimes, is rock crawling. And not religiously, but just every now and then. Oh, it's on right now. Cool. Click. So.
But to give,
I'm all for the low and slow stuff.
Yeah. But to give you an idea,
those patterns on, and whether or not you can pay an extra fee to get your own design on it. Perhaps even give them a picture for them to print on it.
So not directly through the company, but say if you wanted your own custom paint job done, what you would do is get one of these blanks. If you wanted a black base, a matte black, a silver, or a white base, you get this standard solid color helmet, and then there are artists out there who specialize in painting helmets and will come up with a design and do the airbrushing and then clear coat it for you. But
it's just the idea, I mean, of being, if it was possible to pay for to get a photo printed or printed on it. I mean, art is awesome and all that, but the ability to get, if you're a big YouTuber, for example, and you have, this is, this moto vlogging is your life, and you want to put your own face on it, for example.
Oh,
not painting, but
face. So speaking of that, one of the channels that I'm subscribed to for on the moto vlogging side is Suburban Delinquent. He actually
not Shock of God. Okay.
Yeah. No. So he has a partnership with a helmet company where he actually has a couple designs that were inspired by and for him through Voss helmets. So they are a sponsor of his channel. He actually wears their equipment, and as that partnership, there is a colorway, there is a visual graphic on one of their helmets that is his design. He had input on. But he is also out in California. He rides year round. So I doubt I'll get up to that point, but yeah, you never know. But yeah, so you can kind of see the theme that I was going with for the colors to stand out.
I had a friend of mine that he spent, I think it was like $300-400 just for the paint job on his helmet, and less than 2 months later, his head kissed a curb.
Yeah, that's the thing is.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, so Arai is one of, if not the most expensive helmet manufacturer out there. And it's because all of their helmets are held to the same standard internally, and they're also handmade more than any other manufacturer out there. And with that, like, if I decide to go to start doing track days where I'm actually on a closed course with everything with the 748, or say I get a larger bike and take it to the track, I won't have to worry about that helmet, because the helmet, the ones being worn by the professional racers, same build quality as the one that I have right here behind me.
In choice of helmet, have you thought of mount the camera mounting and so on?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can always so what do you call it? Hack stuff, but making sure that it's easy to just click, bang, done, and not think about not worry about the camera being
an issue.
Focused.
Yeah. So
if it's level and so on.
So the system that I'm going to be using, which thanks to Red's Rhetoric for actually working with me on what camera to get and use and everything, because I'm doing a side-mounted camera. So instead of the camera being on my chin, it's going to be on the right side of my helmet, right a little below and a little forward of my ear. And
why the right side? Is that just random, or?
It is. My idea is I'm down. Ultimate goal for my helmet is there's going to be a Bluetooth communication set on it, and there's also going to be the camera with a dedicated mic that is inside my helmet going right into the camera itself. That way, it's a better audio quality. With having both of those systems, one has to be on one side, one's going to be on the other. All of the Bluetooth headsets that I've seen with the microphone type that I'm going to be installing, it makes more sense.
10 meters, but it never is. If it's in, if your phone is in your left side front pocket, it won't necessarily link up flawlessly with your headset if it's on your right ear.
Yeah,
I've had that happen so often.
So I'm kind of curious about these helmets. You're going to mount cameras on them. Do they make helmets with specifically with camera mounts already ready?
So there are some helmets out there that already have the Bluetooth capability built in, but it's a lower quality helmet. The brand Cena has it, where they have one of their Bluetooth systems physically already built into the helmet. The problem is it's an $800 helmet and communication system. The communication system itself as a standalone product is $350 to $400. So there's half of the price of the helmet and system built in cost right there.
Right.
So whereas brand new release, my helmet was just shy of $1,000. Now imagine having the other things built into it there, but still maintaining that Snell safety rating.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, that's where. So the mounts will hold the device there, but in the case of a crash, if I go down and that part of the helmet hits, that device is going to be taken off of the helmet as part of the crash without creating a loss of integrity of the helmet itself. I mean, hell, actually, I will pull it. Oh, I already closed the window. So you remember those vents that were on the top of my helmet? Those channels, in the event of a crash, what Arai has done, those vents are just glued in place. So if I go down and hit towards that top side of the helmet, all those vents will literally just pop off. What they are striving for at Arai is the most round, smooth shape helmet in the event of a crash. That way it doesn't hang up and create more torque on the rider's neck.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that
you
makes
mean
sense.
like if you drop a half liter pop bottle and it lands on the side, it'll just jump up, with no drama. But if it hits the bottle cap, it just blows up in a swirling action because the downward force changes it into what do you call it, angular rotation.
And another thing, around the bottom lip, towards the bottom lip of the helmet with Arai, they have a ridge that is a part of the shell itself that actually acts as a dispersal of energy from the upper part of the helmet, so it doesn't translate through the neck roll into my neck and shoulders. They've actually have done a lot of work towards that, and they actually took that bit of technology from their Formula One, their open cockpit, open wheel race car style helmets.
Well, I would imagine that on racetracks, a neck brace is mandatory. I would love to see that a country, any country really, would try to put that in as a requirement for certain types of motorbikes. Where the driver has to use a neck brace as well.
And actually, speaking of those neck braces, Alpine Stars has a couple of them that they've instituted as well. And Sean, I would have to say flat earthers have issues with technology because they hate being proven wrong live on air where they can't manipulate the bullshit that they're saying. Which is also why a lot of them tend to run away from live debates and live shows that are not controlled by a sympathetic party.
And even worse, if this debate is prefaced with let's call it a demand by the organizers that if you put a claim out there that is supposedly based in some type of science or an experiment specifically, you have to be able to show the citation or prove that you actually aren't just talking out of your ass on demand.
Yeah.
Without any, I'll have to, I don't know, I don't really know, I can't remember, I have to look for it first. No, you would have to be able to show it right then and there without any delay. If you make a specific claim about an experiment that was done or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that if you're going to make a claim, back it up. And they don't like when they're challenged to do that.
Nope. Not exactly, no.
But back to the bike stuff and everything. And what's really interesting is over the years, and I'm actually really disappointed more so at the gear manufacturers more so than the country bodies themselves. Since the mid 2000s, so 2005 2007 time range, there have been essentially airbag systems for motorcycle riders available in the European markets. They did not become available to the American market until a year ago.
Well, it's strange how some things that has to do with safety starts in the U.S. and it takes a long time to trickle into other countries, and sometimes it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to be about safety, just anything really. For example, the diagnostic what do you call it? Ways of diagnostic ways of God damn it, diagnostic tools for identifying disorders in infants or
the medical technologies.
Yeah, I mean my nephew who I think he's about 9 now, or something. He has, let's see if this can be translated, infantile autism. He doesn't have a language. He can understand the simple signs from the American Sign Language.
Mm-hmm.
He can understand the Danish simplified sign language. He can understand what we say to him, either in Danish or in English, but he can't speak back to us. He can't, not even with with sign language. But when my sister was lived in America, in Palos de Verdes, what is it? Palos de Verdes, in the West Coast.
Oh, in
in Los
California,
Angeles.
yeah.
It doesn't really matter. She had him with her, and he went to a daycare center that was specifically equipped to also handle kids like that, and he went through something called ABA, adaptive or advanced behavioral analysis, something like that, and he was doing great. He was developing great. He was, he actually learned a lot of stuff. But when they went home here to Denmark, all his achievements, all the progress that he had made there, just fell on the floor because we don't have anything called ABA in Denmark.
Didn't have that follow-up to continue with.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then here we have the what you talked about, the airbag stuff. I didn't know that we had that here. But then again, I don't ride bikes.
Yeah, and actually, one of the two main companies that actually have that product offering are both Italian companies, Dainese and Alpine Stars. And you can actually thank the world of MotoGP, the top end motorcycle racing class, as being the developers for it. And what it covers. Go for it.
Yeah, just a small note. I almost said Bro Sanchez. Damn it. No. I can't remember his name now. He actually showed up.
Ernest.
Brother Ernest.
Yeah.
He finally showed up, that is.
Yeah, apparently on a flip phone, too.
Well, that's the original type of smartphone. The kind of phone that can actually, on the batteries last for a week.
Yeah.
Before you have to recharge it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about push notifications either.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what's interesting is, like, when you look at a rider on the track, especially the professionals, it's actually surprising just how much body armor and dispersal stuff they're wearing under the leather suit. And also the reason why they still use a leather base suit instead of anything else. And the reason for that is abrasion resistance. But then when you get into the suit itself, they have inserts for what they do call body armor that covers the chest, the shoulders, the back, the elbows and forearms, the hips, the knees. Pretty much the highest likely impact points all have some level of armor and impact absorption at those spots. Now add on to that, this airbag system then takes that to another step where the sides under the arms, across the kidneys, and essentially the entire torso and around the shoulders, there's a couple accelerometers in either the suit or the vest that is inserted into the suit, where it will detect that change that is indicative of you going off of the bike, and then inflate in milliseconds.
Or disengage, yeah. I think I talked about that a couple of months ago. A system where, one of the first versions that I saw, I think it was a Kickstarter or something of that nature, where they had a wireless system and two sets of accelerometers, one on the bike and one in the suit. If the accelerometer data in the suit and the bike didn't coincide, what was too different from each other, it would activate the driver in flight mode and inflate.
Yep. Yeah, and where they've gone to now is they have it all independent on the rider themselves. So you don't have to worry about any sort of tethering to the bike, be it a physical connection or even a wireless one.
Mm-hmm. What? Yeah, I'm guilty in the offense of trying to concentrate on more than one thing at a time right now. It seems as if by looking at the side chat of the non-sex show, that let's see if we can find it again. Someone saying that I can't remember the guy again. That guy's name.
Brother Ernest.
He just came on to Brother Ernest only came on live to brag about him having two wives.
Oh God!
At the moment, his feed is frozen.
Yeah, but
I'm not listening. I don't know if he's actually there or not anymore.
And I'm gonna ask a question that I already know the answer to, but okay, so he's bragging about two wives, so he's bragging about being able to disappoint multiple women at once.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine that in the U.S. it's illegal in some states to have more than one, but not all, right?
Well, I have to admit, at one point I did have two girlfriends, but the second girlfriend's husband hated us, so yeah, that sounded funnier in my head.
Yeah, there was
thing. Two people. In terms of legality stuff.
So legality, polyamory is illegal in the U.S. Where they get
all
yeah,
everywhere.
Okay. This is why the Mormon fundamentalist groups have such a contentious relationship with everyone else, because they don't recognize those laws because they want the polyamory, but it inevitably leads to abuse in their sex, which is part of why the U.S. government is like, no. We're not doing that.
Well, I haven't done any research at all in this field, but I wonder if there's any religion where it is part of specifically a part of the religion, not the culture, have more than one wife. As in a integral part of their faith system. If that would be the case, it would be unlawful of the state to deny that, wouldn't it?
Some sects of Mormonism still hold to that they still claim that, but the compromise that was made is that the government will only recognize the first marriage.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it will, legally.
Officially. Yeah, is Mormonism an officially recognized separate religion or faith?
It falls under. It is viewed as a Christian faith,
what it's called.
But it is all divisions of Christianity are handled as separate faiths themselves, and are recognized proper religious rights in that manner. However, issues like polyamory and sacrifices and minutia of specific religious beliefs are still subject to U.S. law.
Okay. Well. Oh, by the way, he's back on the feed. I see.
Yeah.
Well, I would say it is obvious that something that has to do with your religion that is infringing on human rights. For example, women being treated like crap in the Bible, and even worse in the Quran. The reason why I say it's even worse there is because they actually act on it. You know, a so-called proper Muslim family has the man of the family, the head of the family, and whenever they are outside walking, the woman or the wife has to walk behind the husband because she is of lesser status. That would be, I mean, if there's part of your religion that is considered illegal in a country because of human rights, it should not, that part of that religion should not be allowed to be asserted, if you know what I mean. But other things like having more than one wife, that isn't exactly a human rights issue in terms of someone being oppressed, as I see it anyway. It's a difficult discussion, I think. In terms of are we infringing on people's rights as a human being, or rights as in a right of religion and the customs that follow, or laws that follow, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about the Mormons and their polyamory is that there are some states and city municipalities that will still allow them to practice it. Like Mangan was saying, they'll recognize the first marriage, but any marriage after that isn't legal. So when they have their ceremonies, they're not filing an actual marriage license to the state municipality or anything like that. They just, as far as their beliefs go, are considered married. There are others that there are others who contend that they shouldn't have to hide that fact because it is a part of their religion, and that the government is curtailing their First Amendment right to freedom of religion, except for the fact that their elders, when they were petitioning for statehood as the state of Deseret back in the 1870s, were told by Congress that we do not accept this as a valid part of Christian religion, and we will not allow you statehood unless you renounce this part of your faith. It took them about 15 years to renounce that part of their faith. So technically, as far as the main Mormon church is concerned, polyamory is no longer acceptable. So that's why they end up moving around from state to state, city to city.
Jeez. Well, I mean, there's of course there's always people who I don't want to say destroy it for everyone else, but it's still what I kind of think about it. In terms of, for example, and yes, I'm still watching a lot of those kinds of videos. Sorry, it's my fetish for the month. Looking at sovereign citizen videos, and even worse, the Moorish nationals videos. The people who are really messed up in their head, usually black people, because that's part of the so-called religion. That they claim that they're indigenous to America. I mean, they are in what everybody else calls the United States, but it's on their ground. They're Moorish nationals, and for people who don't know what that is, Moorish means Moroccan, and they claim that that they're part of their religion and blah 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 blah. And that, I mean, that they're trying to make it sound like that their religion, because of their religion, they are not. They're not part of the American legal system. They're not, what do you call it? They are not under that law. I can't remember the specific wording they use, but
we are not subject to that law, as we are not full U.S. citizens, or some bullshit like that they try to argue.
Yeah, it's a bit Yeah, it's a bit easier for the sovereign citizens, whether or not they want to call themselves sovereign citizens, because some of them are actually smart enough to know that sovereign citizens in the United States are officially considered domestic terrorists. So many of them don't want to use that word, but they call, well, hey, I'm not under your laws. I'm on the God's laws. And there's just there it's just even more funny to watch them. But that's a different subject altogether.
Well,
Yeah, I think I have to call it quits. I can't concentrate on more than one thing at a time. I am not. My cognitive skills are lacking right now. I even
drink some more
managed to.
coffee.
Yeah, I even managed to pass out at the end of movie night. We were done, looking at the video, but I finally.
So how much
I
longer were
finally
you
passed out.
guys on after I left?
I don't know. The video is sorry. The live stream is 5 hours long. I think it is.
Yeah, it's almost 5.5.
So about an
So
hour,
it's not-
hour and a half after I left. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not a. The words. Damn it! It's not a new. It's not a new.
What time is it there?
Here?
Yeah.
Well, on my end, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Is it really? No, it's record. That's the word I was looking for. 5 hours is not a new record for movie night.
Oh, no.
That is 7 hours, I think. Well, a couple of movie nights ago, it was it came up to 6 hours 48 minutes, I think it was. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, but no, you guys, no offense, but I have to call it quits here.
Yeah.
I'm mentally done. I might go into the live stream chats on the non-sex show, but speaking is apparently beyond me right now.
Well, you do
And I'm
that.
starting to sound like I have a whiskey voice.
Yep. You have a good one, Bo. Get some rest.
You too. That rest is for the wicked, so to speak. Oh wait, I am. Cool.
All depends.
I don't know
on,
if you.
Yeah.
All depends on who you ask.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was gonna say, Jared, did you see any of my images I sent you on Discord?
I got to look at a bunch of them.
Yeah.
My favorite one is the piggy pickup line.
I didn't see that one yet.
That's the very last one that I sent you.
Oh, okay, I'll go check it in a second.
And it's all in my favorite new meme search. NASA fails memes. Let's see here. Because it's a lot of it is flat Earth arguments, but it's just funny.
All right, sent directly to me.
Yeah, sent directly to you.
So the last one I see is the fishing one.
Oh, nope, it's the one right above that. Look up at get school is what I called it.
Oh, okay.
Message.
Nice. I could see him saying that.
Let's see.
And he must have fallen asleep because he's not even reacting.
Well, go back a couple. One more. There. Can you zoom in on that any?
Let's see if it'll pull up here.
Because that kind of looked like my sister's boss. And I think that is.
Which one?
I think that the right in the middle there. Yeah, I think that's Alan. Yeah. And if that's Alan, then my sister's got to be hovering around there back in the background somewhere. But now my sister works directly for Alan Stern, who's he's the PI for the New Horizons space probe.
Yeah.
So, and she's on the 29th, I'm flying out to Baltimore, and I'm going to be at Applied Physics Lab as my sister's guest for the next flyby that New Horizons makes of MU-69. So it's not going to be as big a deal as Pluto was, but it's still going to be a kind of a big deal. So should be neat.
This is a live look into M. Benz's head right now. What do you think, Jared?
Wow.
I sent that to Team Skeptic, but never got a response because you guys were busy debunking that other video. The stupid shit I can find on the internet.
Well, when New Horizons flew past Pluto, my sister flew myself and my parents out to APL, and we were there for the flyby, and then we were there for a couple more days because she had to do some shit in Washington at NASA headquarters, and then we all flew back home. And as soon as I get home and I fire up the computer, immediately within, I mean, it hasn't even been a week, and there's already guys, the flat earthers, trying to debunk the photos of Pluto. Some idiot used the craters and connected the dots and actually drew a face of the cartoon animal Pluto on the photo of Pluto and claimed that, you know, this is proof that this is all CGI.
Jared was laughing at my picture here.
Yes. That is just beautiful.
What does Mike Pence have to say here?
Nothing good?
Nothing good. Secret squirrel.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people, namely flat earthers, tend to stick with their senses no matter how limited they are.
Yeah.
You know, 500 mile an hour tape is actually really fucking good when used properly.
Well, EB Green is really great too when you're underwater. So,
I read a book. It's actually in a series of books, but in this book, the good guy Earth fleet, and we were going off exploring, and we ran into some aliens, and they turned out to be hostile, and then we were getting our asses kicked, and we get saved by some other aliens, right? And so there's these other aliens, good guy aliens, come over, you know, send these dignitaries. It's first contact, and everybody's, you know, what have you, and learning how to communicate. And at the same time, you know, they're performing repairs on the ship. And what? And pointing at a couple of guys that are repairing an airlock. So what are you pointing at? You want an airlock? No. That they're using to fix the airlock. Duct tape. And so they sent them 4 cases of duct tape. Ooh.
I thought this one was kind of funny.
We can't our technologies. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's look at Jaren.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I picturing him putting moon sugar in his coffee?
Moon sugar?
It's a Elder Scrolls
Ah.
thing. Yeah. Khajiit.
An updated look at the Curiosity, I guess. Right here.
See, and that's the thing, is if it was purely an American endeavor on Mars, yeah, you would see a
Exactly.
rascal up there.
Hey, a live look at Jared's house.
What?
Thankfully, neither of my dogs is that ingenious. The cat would be. The cat would be stupid enough to get stuck like that.
All I can think of are the knights who say knee.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh. RJ responding to a message.
Well,
but anyways, this is what prompted my question in the chat while Bo was going on about his inability to multitask. So the hashtag thought audit is all about the women who sell their stuff off of Twitch and the like haven't been paying their taxes on those transactions, and now they're being called out and audited on by the IRS, and they're getting pissed off at people for it.
Oh, you mean they're getting pissed off that the government wants their cut of their income?
Oh no, it's even better. Is most of them are self-proclaimed socialists, communists, those types of people who want all their free stuff, and then they don't realize that their government in that situation would want their taxes too, which would mean you don't have any money.
Yeah. It's always beautiful when that sort of special snowflake realizes just how the economy actually works.
Oh, and here's a live look at Jared in class too. If he were a little darker and got tan while he was in the South Pacific area.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
My history 200 classes is actually quite boring. It's about equality rights, and I'm doing the Voting Rights Act of 1965, I think it is. Because if I were to do something like the Equal Rights Act or the Civil Rights Act or even suffrage, the 19th Amendment and all that. Yeah, I would just bring in a display of Red Dead 2. That would be my report. But no, in all seriousness, I would have a hard time writing an actual PowerPoint presentation on those topics because I wouldn't be able to keep my bias out of it, my political bias out of it. Because unlike most of the people in my class, I can view things through a lens of historical context.
Yep.
Whereas the others in my class can't necessarily.
Well, and that's where just stick with the facts of who did what. Exactly.
And that's generally what I do. But at the same time, it's like I was in a discussion in another history class when I was going to University of Phoenix. We were discussing similar topics. They were talking about, oh, well, Thomas Jefferson and George Washington were evil, racist men, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, is that through your perceptions of what we know now about racism and things like that today? Or are you taking the context of the time in what they were doing? Well, that doesn't matter. And my history teacher's like, actually, no, that does matter. He's got it right. And after that, nobody responded to any of my discussion questions. So, and that was only week 1 out of a 9-week course. And they're just like, after 2 weeks of them, nobody saying anything. He's like, just post your comments and you don't have to respond to anybody else's. They all got pissed and were writing to the school about it. And the school's like, went in and looked at the discussion boards and like, no, you guys are boycotting him. You actively set up a message thread that he couldn't view and the teacher couldn't view. Guess what? It stands. I love it when things like that
Nice.
work out, you know?
Well, and that just goes to show that that institution in that instance actually cared about integrity. Is like, no, you can't claim foul when you brought it on yourself.
And that's just it, is people don't want to look at history through the lens of context. They'll look through it through any other lens, social, economical, political. But when it comes to actual context of the situation, they don't want to look at the knowledge that they had, what they were working with. And still, even now, today, we still, as a society, ignore things like when it comes to talking about it's just BS. You know, you sold them for trinkets and things like that. I'm like,
They were
just
still,
because
they were still sold by their own type of people into slavery in the first place.
and it is literally what we consider to be trinkets to them are precious valuables because they don't have those. You know, it's like supply and demand. Ooh, space station. Looks like an astronaut's getting ready to board his Soyuz. Oh, I saw a meme earlier today that will probably get us in trouble, but it'd be worth it. I wonder if I saved it.
I'm curious now.
It's not that bad, but it's along the lines of my Orville memes.
Ah.
See if I can go back and find that. I found one on here that I had to share to Mel. Anti-vaxxer research. It was pretty funny.
Oh, Richard, don't. I completely understand work kicking your ass. Thursday, Friday, not including the 8 hours of holiday that I got for each day, I put in 26 hours between the 2 days of actual work on site.
I used to work for a trucking company and was used to put in the same kind of hours. I'd only work 3 or 4 days a week, but I'd clock 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
That was rough.
See, and something like that to me, if you're doing, so 60-hour week sucks on the front of it, but how that's broken up through the work week does play a factor as well. Yeah, if you're doing 3 20-hour days, fucking hell, you deserve the 4 days off after. But if you're doing, I was often doing 60-hour days, 60-hour weeks, but I was working 5-6 days a week. So it wasn't that bad, but it was still annoying enough.
Yeah, that's still a hard week.
Yeah.
That's still a hard week.
Wow. It's not wrong. I think that would actually really help. Again, it's all about conveying the application.
Yeah, that's I could take some measurements of the.
I think I passed it. Yeah, I did. Everybody was obsessed with that Mohawk guy, weren't they? Yeah, the Mars rover. This one's funny too. Definitely was a veteran, wasn't it?
But here's the thing. Wait.
Or a child in an adult's body.
Wait. How do we know that that's not the alien version of...
That's what I was going to say. There was somewhere right in here. Where the Wait, what was that?
Rover Curiosity makes historic Mars landing, beams back. Okay.
Oh, it looks like they're.
Okay, let's see what bow. Holy shit.
What now?
Apparently, Mind of God is in the live chat over at Nonsec.
Oh god. Here's a job for Pig.
Hey, you know, it can still work.
Yep. Shared this one on squirrels. Specifically
Nice.
tagged.
Nice. Oh, that's so. Richard, are you going back out to Calgary this time, or going to a different spot? Wait, NASA caught Space Ghost? Yeah, kind of hard to see. That one. You know that guy never skips lunch.
No, well, he needs his energy so he can go out there and hit 18 hole-in-ones in a row.
That off fuck moment.
God damn it.
Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this.
Nice.
That's not even the best one yet, nor is this one.
Wow.
It's right in this area here.
Okay, then.
Oh, there it is. There's a good one.
Garlic bread, even. And and you know what? I'm fucking hungry too.
Oh, so what you're saying? Oh, here it is. Here's the one that get us in trouble.
Because Sam. Wow. Wow.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Yep. Now we got to quit talking about him.
Yep.
Here we go.
Wait, what's that playing in the background? Is that Nonsec?
Yep.
All right. Oh, Red.
You can hear it?
Yeah.
Just enough. Is that whole thing is if we get a flat earther PhD in here, does that mean you'll actually be able to make a coherent
Are we live
argument?
streaming? Oh shit.
Yeah, we're still live.
Is that good or can I not stream?
Well, I was about to shut it down so I can go grab a bite to eat anyways.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
Anyway.
All right, later, Richard. Heat Shield.
Yeah, I guess I'll be
below, or you can message me on Discord. I think that's still down there. But yeah, we'll keep the gear talk going, which will actually be part of the Patreon and other stuff for the Motovlog section of the channel. But with that, it's been a typical 3.5 hours. I wasn't expecting to go this late, but hey, you know what? Shit happens. But thank all of you for coming. Everyone who was on the panel at some point, thank you for joining. As always, we will see you next week. Wait a minute. What's this?
This is the one I sent Mel.
Vaccine research, 200 years of research. Anti-vaccine research, 200 minutes of intense web browsing. Oh, that is so true. That is so fucking true. And with that,